Your attention, please. Attention, please. Attention, please.
And now the moment we've been waiting for is here.
All right, what is up, Skeeters Nation? We are live at Bethpage Ballpark on Long Island for game number 2 of the Atlantic League Championship Series. Skeeter is ready to take on the Long Island Ducks one more time here in New York before we head back home to Constellation Field and play at least 2 games there, as the Skeeters dropped last night's game 7-5 decision. Ryan Posner and longtime Atlantic League play-by-play man Mike Moore are going to be on the call here tonight, and a 7-5 loss, a game that at one point the Skeeters trailed 5-0, and Skeeters clawed their way right back into it, scored a couple runs off a really good reliever in Joey Oreo for the Ducks. So hopefully tonight, maybe playing out in front, it'll be a battle of former big leaguer Darren Downs for the Ducks going up against former Long Island Duck Carlos Pimentel, who is back in the rotation and gets the game to start. The Skeeters won Pimentel's last start. So Mike, Skeeters, as mentioned last night, it was one of those games where it's kind of they climb back into it and the Ducks tag on a few. They climb back into it, Ducks tag on a few. You know, what were some of your takeaways from last night?
Well, Ryan, you know, it's so difficult to hold back the emotions. The first game of a championship series, the defending Atlantic League champion Sugarland Skeeters on the road here against the Long Island Ducks, and you know, you fall behind 5-0 after 1 inning of play, but despite the loss, the Skeeters had a lot of fight. They fought back and, you know, within a couple of runs a few times in that game, but it just showed that this is going to be, I think, a very long series. The Skeeters did not lay down after falling behind so quickly, and I think with some good starting pitching tonight on the part of Carlos Pimentel and the bats making some noise late, as you said, against a very, you know, well-respected and daunted Long Island Ducks bullpen, shows that the Skeeters are ready to go here in game number 2. You erase the memory of the loss last night. That's why the baseball is such a great game, because you come right back here less than 24 hours later and you're ready to go, and a chance to even up the series and head back to the Lone Star State, you know, 1-1 overall.
And the Skeeters are going to shake things up a bit tonight. They had gone with essentially the same lineup, at least the same starting 9 for the first 5 games of the postseason, and tonight they're going to shake things up. So Rico Noel, speedster, former Lancaster Barnstormer, former New York Yankee, he's going to get the start and bat in the leadoff spot. Blair Beck, a kind of a good utility guy, a little bit of power, can play out over the field. He is going to start as well. So out of the lineup tonight are Juan Silverio and Cody Stanley, 2 guys that have had a pretty big impact this postseason. Cody Stanley had an RBI in last night's game on a ground out. And Juan Silverio, you can make a case that he was the team's MVP. But with Rico Noel, Mike, you've seen him around the league. I mean, he can be a game changer in an instant with his kind of speed.
Absolutely, and you know, he is the true definition of a table setter at the top of the lineup. 45 stolen bases in the regular season, and you know, basically, if he gets on at first, whether it's through a single, a walk, or an error, what have you, he could turn that easily into 2 or 3 bases with his speed. And you know, you're going to challenge the arm of Ramon Cabrera tonight behind the plate for the Long Island Ducks. You know, he had a couple of errors last night, so you know, if you have someone maybe just looking for the spark plug to get the offense rolling, it's a player in, you know, Rico Noel back in the lineup. Then you have a speedster behind him in Winton Bernard, and it just sets up the big bats, you know, 3, 4, 5. And we talked about it last night. No matter who is penciled in by Pete Incaviglia throughout the course of this regular season into the postseason, there's no easy out of this Sugarland Skeeters lineup.
And everyone's going to kind of slot down a few spots. So Winton Bernard and Jan Santee are still at the top there. Dennis Phipps going to be the cleanup man. Albert Cordero is behind the plate tonight. He'll bat 5th. Jason Martinson, who's up a spot, he'll hit 6th and play short with a lefty on the mound. Zach Borenstein going to slide down a few spots and hit 7th. Blair Beck will hit 8th and play 1st, and then Betancourt still batting 9th with the shifts from 2nd to 3rd base. One thing I will say, Javier Betancourt, man, he is a A+ defender. He doesn't quite give you with what Juan can give you as far as power comes in the lineup, but as far as contact goes, defense, Javier Betancourt, one of those really sneaky guys, can be really pesky, and he actually had a great Game 5 here last year as the Skeeters won the title. He had a 3-for-5 game, so he's one of those guys you can plug him in, play pretty much anywhere on the infield, and should be an exciting night out here in Long Island.
And one of the most important things you talk about when trying to construct a championship team in the offseason is your defense up the middle. It starts, you know, behind the plate. You have a tremendous catcher in Albert Cordero who can play multiple positions, as we've seen this year. But just getting back to what you said, the middle infielders are going to be the key. And Javier Betancourt, he's at 3rd base tonight, but he's another player that you can put him anywhere on that infield, and he has, you know, such good hands that he will definitely help out the ground balls that hopefully Carlos Pimentel has, throughout the course of this game. And then, what more can you say about Jason Martinson and, of course, Anthony Jansanti? And then in center field, you have Rico Noel. It's just a very good defensive alignment that Pimentel will have tonight because, he's going to try to, use his pitch as well and try to force those Ducks batters to hit a lot of ground balls, and that's why you need a good defense.
And I don't know, Mike, I don't know where you fall on this. I mean, so you got a guy in Carlos Pimentel facing a lot of guys in this Long Island lineup are returners from last year who were his teammates. You're talking about Lou Ford. You're talking about David Washington. You got Ramon Cabrera, who caught him last year. Daniel Fields, another guy who was here last year. Do you, in your opinion, you've been around for a while, do you think that's something that's going to help the pitcher or maybe helps the offense a little more?
That's a great question. It's always $1 million question. When you have a pitcher facing a former opponent and a familiarity with them, who has the advantage? I really feel like that it's the advantage to the pitcher because you see your ex-teammates and you know their strengths and weaknesses. Now, as a pitcher, you have a variety of pitches in your, arsenal that you can use, but the batters that chase pitches out of the zone and who likes, where their hot spots are and their cold zones and who likes the outer half and middle and the inner half. So I really feel like it favors the pitcher. And, like you said, Carlos Pimentel is a savvy professional. And, I don't think there's a better person to toe the rubber tonight for Sugarland down 1-0 than Pimentel tonight because, he had such a great season in 2019 with the Skeeters. And, it's a game that the Skeeters are hoping to have. And you have a person in Pimentel there who's really looking to make a statement against his old ball club. So, it provides an opportunity, I think, for Sugarland to really make some noise here this evening with the likes of a Carlos Pimentel on the mound trying to limit that one to Ducks lineup.
Well, Pimentel in the regular season against the Ducks made 3 starts against them, was 0-1 with a 4.76 ERA. Again, the Ducks are one of those teams where the Skeeters, they play them so well at Constellation Field, but much like teams don't like coming to play in Texas, Bethpage Ballpark is a tough spot to play. But kind of got a little deja vu here because game 1 of the Freedom Division Series, York went out and won 8-1, and that, you're looking at that, and you could easily let that series get away from you. But Pimentel came out game number 2, threw 5 innings, allowed just 4 hits, 1 run, struck out 3 batters, took the win in that effort. So, looking for that same kind of stopper tonight.
Absolutely, and like you said, they needed that victory by Pimentel at home in game number 2 of the division series, and now it's basically like you were mentioning. Do it again for us. Come out here. It's on the road, a tough environment. The fans will be raucous here tonight. This is the final home game of 2019, no matter what, for the Long Island Ducks and the faithful of the flock. And, for Pimentel, it's like just go out and get them and, establish a precedent early. Try to just put up some zeros and allow the opportunity for the offense to do the rest.
Yeah, last night, a 3-run homer from Dave Benson Romero, followed by a solo shot from David Washington, actually homer twice on the evening. Got the Skeeters behind early, but looking for greener pastures. Tonight had a little bit of rain earlier today, but it's all blown through. Tar was on the field, but everything is looking good. It's a little bit of a humid night out here on Long Island, but we're used to that out in Sugarland. All right, well, it is just about 6:20 out here on the East Coast in New York. We have first pitch coming live to you in 15 minutes. Wanted to get some pregame stats in there. We will take a break. We will come back right before first pitch. Skeeters and Ducks here in game number 2 of the Atlantic League Championship Series at Bethpage Ballpark. Skeeters looking to even the series. Ryan Posner and Mike Moore here with you all night, and we'll be back here in the broadcast booth around 6:35. So do not turn that dial. We'll be back here in just a moment. All right, welcome back live at Bethpage Ballpark on Long Island. Game number 2 of the Atlantic League Championship Series is just around the corner. That was a great rendition of the national anthem from a couple kids. They even harmonized it with that. That was good stuff.
It really was.
Ryan Poster and Mike Moore here on the call tonight. For those that don't know, Mike Moore, a longtime Bridgeport Bluefish broadcaster and New Britain Bees broadcaster as well. So especially for the Liberty division, you see those folks a lot more, and he certainly knows his Ducks team. They can be formidable at times, but really the kryptonite for them has been the Skeeters last few years. The Skeeters defeated the Ducks in 5 games in last year's Atlantic League Championship Series. And right now, Skeeters are down 0-1, which they actually had not gone to an 0-1 spot in the 2 times they faced the Ducks here in the Championship Series the last 2 times. But looking to even it up here tonight will be the lefty Darren Downs, who has put up pretty good numbers this year, Mike. 3-3, a 2.63 earned run average. From you're experiencing him here a little bit more. What are some things that Downs likes to do early?
Downs has a terrific, and I mean a terrific changeup, so he likes to use that as his secondary pitch. Obviously, good movement with his fastball as well. But going into the game tonight, I think his plan with his battery mate in Ramon Cabrera is to try to keep the ball on the ground as much as possible. Not really a big fly ball type of pitcher, but he does surrender the home run ball once in a while. So I just think that this matchup here does, favor the Sugarland Skeeters. And the reason why I say that is because if you look at the lineup that Pina Gabriele has penciled in, 8 of the 9 batters are going to be either right-handed or switch hitters, with the exception being Zach Borenstein, the number 7 spot in the lineup, who has a ton of power. And like I said, even though Downs is a ground ball type of pitcher, the wet grass here on the field today, we had some rain earlier, it's going to, I think, allow the Skeeters an opportunity to take advantage of what they've been doing all season long, and that is score some runs by way of small ball, using their speed. They have some power in the middle of the lineup as well, but look for Darren Downs to get ahead in the count early and then go to that secondary pitch in the changeup to try to, stymie this offense in Sugarland.
I know our camera feed isn't great. It'll be a lot better once we get home, but you can tell on the diamond, there are spots where it looks like there's a little bit more precipitation hit the dirt than others, and that can certainly be a factor here. And stepping into the box right now for the first time this postseason, that's Rico Noel. And we'll hopefully get to see right away the game-changing speed that Noel possesses. Mike, he stole 45 bases, a little bit less than in the entire second half. You can only imagine what he might have done had he played the entire year in Sugarland.
And as you were saying, too, he is back in the lineup here for the first time in the playoffs for the Skeeters, and looks to be, like we talked about at the top of the broadcast, the table setter for the rest of this Sugarland lineup.
If he can get on, it's almost like a double, even if he just singles this out with this kind of speed. And should note, too, with a lefty Downs on the mound, that rule that it does not allow pitchers to step off, that really does hurt lefties because that takes away that kind of balk move that they'll call it. So first pitch from Downs, and squaring to bunts Noel, and he tried to push bunt it there and is pushed through it. And strike number 1 here to open game number 2 of the Atlantic League Championship Series. Skeeters and Ducks once again. A good rivalry brewing between these two clubs. Skeeters looking to become the first back-to-back champions in the Atlantic League since the Ducks won it in 2012 and 13. And Noel squares the bunt again, takes. And the thing about Rico Noel, too, is he, you look at him and you're like, oh, this guy's pure speed. Rico's got some pop in his bat, too. He had a 1 home run in the regular season, but at times, he's able to spray the gaps, too. So not your traditional just kind of punch the ball on the ground speedster. Lines that one to left field. That one is down for a base hit. And Rico Noel, 1 for 1 this postseason, and gets the Skeeters started. A leadoff single for the former major leaguer, and that'll bring up Witten Bernard. How long before we see him go on the move here, Mike?
Well, welcome to the postseason, Rico Noel. Just a great start to this ballgame for the Sugarland Skeeters. And like you were saying, with those 45 stolen bases in the regular season, I think he is very early in this at-bat here to Witten Bernard is going to test the arm of Ramon Cabrera.
Skeeters stole 4 bases last night, were not caught. And does not go this time as that fastball misses up and away to Bernard. 1-0. Witten Bernard, a double last night, came around to score, and he was able to score as he stole third base, and the throw got away from Vincent Romero. That's another fastball. That one misses up as well. 2-0.
And, following up on the point that you were discussing about the speed of this Skeeters lineup, an Atlantic League high 211 stolen bases in the regular season. In the postseason, 17 for 18, and they're only playing in their 6th game.
That's incredible. And there goes Noel on the move. He got a huge jump, and Bernard crushes that. Left center field. Back goes Fields, and that one's into the gap. And Noel is going to be waved home. He scores easily, and the Skeeters take a 1-0 lead here in the top of the first before they even record an out. RBI double from Witten Bernard.
Great job there as Pete Incaviglia aggressively goes through the hit and run, and a terrific piece of hitting by Winton Bernard. And with Noel in motion, once that ball split the outfielders and went to the wall, he was easily scoring from first base. So 2 batters into the game. What a start for Sugar Land. They have a 1-0 lead, now looking for more.
And you go right through the heart of this lineup here. Anthony Jansanti, Dennis Phipps on deck. Anthony had a hit last night in the loss. I'm not going to lie, Mike. When I saw Bernard swing, I kind of flinched there. I'm like, oh, man, only because Rico Noel could have had that stolen base standing up. But when Bernard's hitting the way he's hitting, he ended the season hitting .374 in September. You let the man swing the bat. First pitch to Jansanti is up a bit, called a ball 1-0. Darren Downs had great numbers against the Skeeters this year. He was 1-0 with a 2.12 ERA in 3 starts. But the Skeeters have got to him here before recording an out. And this is a spot where, hey, the Ducks put up a crooked number in last night's game. Really hoping you can push a few across here and give your guy Carlos Pimentel some extra runs to work with.
And Bernard just continues to have a tremendous postseason. He was hitting .318 coming in. That's his 3rd double and 3rd run batted in so far in the playoffs for the Skeeters.
Bernard at second. Jansanti takes breaking ball there, called a strike, 1-1. Yeah, coming into this game, Mike, Bernard and Jansanti had been the 2 table setters, 1 and 2. They had combined to hit .326 between the 2 of them. So now you just slot those guys down a spot in the order, and you add a Rico Noel who singles, comes across the score. So 1-0 lead here for the Skeeters. Top of the first, still nobody down. Winton Bernard at second base. He's got a good lead. He's got great speed. He's on the move. Pitch is swung on a miss by Jansanti. They're not going to have a play. That is the 5th stolen base for Winton Bernard of the postseason, and now a runner on third, nobody down, as that one was called a strike. So 1-2 the count to Jansanti.
Just a tremendous jump there by Winton Bernard. And now an interesting decision for Wally Backman, already down 1-0. You bring the infield in. Obviously, he is not going to because it is only the first inning. So an opportunity here for the Skeeters, 2 chances with a productive out to double this lead.
The 1-2 to Jansanti, good take as Downs is going to that breaking ball low and inside pretty frequently here to the righty. Dennis Phipps on deck. And that was the play last night that hurt the Ducks, too. Bernard stole third base. They threw it away, came across to score. But I don't know if you noticed, too, it seemed like Bernard stuck right into the dirt there when he slid. So that's something to watch, too. Obviously, the dirt a little bit harder with all the rain that came through here earlier today. 2-2 to Captain Sugar Land. A little bit late on the fastball and fouls it right side and comes all the way back onto the field.
And, you know, Ryan, you were talking about Anthony Jansanti last evening. He had a stolen base, his 4th, and you were saying at the time, I believe, that
yes,
it was the most in postseason history by a Skeeters player.
So now Bernard, he is adding to the record, but I think Jansanti may be able to catch him again.
It just shows that the tremendous amount of speed that this team has at the top of the lineup. But you got to give so much credit to Rico Noel. I mean, he was on the bench, basically, and he comes in base
cold,
hit, and boom, he scores.
A good spark to add back to the top of the lineup. The 2-2 to Jansanti, fouled it back. Good battle brewing here as Jansanti had been seeing a lot of curveballs low and in from Downs, and then Downs coming back with a fastball, and he's just able to kind of foul those off, stay alive here. The 2-2 count, and like you said, Mike, the infield playing back, so ground ball will score him, and it won't take too deep of a fly ball to score Bernard. Mazzilli out in left, Fuentes in center, Fields in right. Same outfield alignment for the Ducks as last night. 2-2 to Jansanti. Inside fastball, does not get the call, makes it a full count here. As Downs kind of takes his cap off, wipes the brow, goes to the rosin. Those are the signs you want to see if you're the Skeeters right there. He's a little flustered here early, and Homer, big leaguer, and he's, like I said, he's been tough on the Skeeters this year, but they're getting to him early.
And you mentioned, Ryan, at the top of the broadcast, it is a very hot, humid night here at Bethpage Ballpark as well. It doesn't feel like October 2nd type of weather.
It does not. It reminds me a little bit of Sugar Land, as a matter of fact. 3-2 pitch, breaking ball, misses up, but Jansanti swings through it, and that is the first out of the evening as Jansanti is down swinging.
That's a good pitch there by Darren Downs. A pretty gutsy pitch on 3-2 as Jansanti, I think, was sitting on the fastball, and Downs goes to his 3rd pitch in his repertoire, the curveball, and he gets Jansanti swinging.
And he missed up there, too. That was in the danger zone just a bit, but he gets the first out. And so now the Ducks are going to bring the infield in with 1 away. And Dennis Phipps, who has homered in 3 straight games, he is the first player in Skeeters history to homer in 3 straight postseason games. Last night's was 365, 94 off the bat. So he's hit him a lot farther than that before, but 3 in a row nonetheless. That one misses low and in. 1-0 the count to Phippsy.
And, you know, this at-bat here shows the depth, as we were talking about, that Pete Incaviglia has. First base is open. The infield is in, so you can pitch around Dennis Phipps if you are Darren Downs, but right behind him is Albert Cordero.
Yeah, there's not a hole in the lineup. And that one is called a strike. Gets the inside part of the plate there. 1-1 the count.
You also wonder now if Wally Backman is starting to think about the way this game may be going. With the Jansanti at bat, I know there was nobody out. He has the infield back. Now with one away, he brings the infield in, knowing that a couple of runs could be the difference.
Absolutely. That one swung and a miss by Phipps. That's down is really going to that curveball early and often to the righties, and he's using it low and in.
And the reason why I bring that up too, Ryan, is the fact that who knows about Carlos Pimentel better than Wally Backman? So he probably has the mindset that he knows 2 runs could be enough in his back pocket tonight.
The way he pitched in Game 2 of the Freedom Division Series, it certainly seemed that way. The 1-2 to Dennis Phipps. That was a fastball inside. Misses. 2-2 the count now. So Bernard at third. The Skeeters have taken a 1-0 lead here in Game 2. RBI double from Wynton Bernard, who has just been, honestly, one of the best players in pro baseball, and I'm not exaggerating, over this last month of the year, including the regular season, and he has got the Skeeters on the board early. Looking for more here, though. The 2-2 pitch to Phipps. That one fouled back off the middle. It's like a Ramon Cabrera. So the only change for the Ducks tonight was the fact that they switched their catchers. Cabrera and Hector Sanchez out, and both of them are switch hitters, as a matter of fact, so you don't really get any difference in the alignment as far as lefty-righty. Skeeters, though, had gone to some pretty big changes, not just with sending in Beck and Noel for the first time, but just the lineup order itself, sending Noel in the leadoff spot, which has already paid dividends. It's coming around to score here in the top of the first. Big spot here, the 2-2 to Phipps. That one hit hard but foul. Ground ball left side.
And Ryan, we talked about this last night with the Skeeters falling behind early and the starting pitcher, Vin Mazzaro, on the mound for Long Island. There's only one out here in the top of the first, and the pitch count is rising quickly on the part of Darren Downs. He has already thrown 20 pitches here in the top half of inning number 1, and he's only recorded 1 out.
It is a hot, steamy night, and 20 pitches probably feels like 40 pitches right now. So 2-2 to Phipps. Bernard on third base. Skeeters ahead 1-0. The 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball, and Phipps is able to stay back and stay alive as he fouls it back once again. Couple of good at-bats strung together by the Skeeters here. Albert Cordero on deck. This is a great, great scene and a start to this one compared to last night. The Skeeters went down in order in the first inning and then went down 5-0 in the bottom of the first. So already ahead 1-0 here tonight, and a great chance to add on at least one more here. Dennis Phipps, who's homered in 3 straight games. Only Delwyn Young has had more home runs in a postseason series in Skeeters history. That was 4 back in 2014. Infield in, still for the Ducks. Downs is 2-2. Swung and a miss. Phipps is down swinging. Back-to-back strikeouts for Downs, and now 2 away here in the top of the first.
And that was just a nasty slider thrown by Darren Downs. It was a little bit out of the strike zone, but of course, if you're Dennis Phipps, you have to protect the plate, and he looked very frustrated. A bit of a late swing on that pitch. A big strikeout for Darren Downs, and now he has a chance to limit the damage here to just a single run.
Yeah, Downs with a good pitch sequence there to Phipps. Don't usually see Dennis get fooled like that all too often, as he's mixed his breaking ball well with his fastball here early on. Albert Cordero up now, 2 away. Bernard still on third. Skeeters ahead 1-0. Big opportunity to add an insurance run here. That one crushed the left field. Did Cordero get all that one? He did. Looking up is the left fielder Mazzilli. A 2-run home run for Albert Cordero, and the Skeeters are going to take a 3-0 lead here in the top of the first inning.
Cordero wastes no time as that first pitch fastball was right in his wheelhouse. A no doubt clutch 2-out, 2-run home run, a crooked number put up here in the top of the first by Sugarland, and that's what they need. A clutch 2-out hit adds 2 huge insurance runs to give the defending champs an early lead.
Don't get too close. That cocoa is too hot. Albert Cordero leaves the yard for the first time this postseason after hitting a career-high 15 long balls in the regular season. And as you just noted, Mike, 3-0. That's a crooked number you put up on the Ducks, and a very good pitcher in Darren Downs here in the top of the first in game number 2. After a couple long at-bats from Jansanti and Phipps, Coco just jumps on the first pitch and sends it over the left field fence. And now 2 away, Jason Martinson, he swings at the first pitch as well. That might be into no man's land. Down the right field line, Fields on the run. That one is just going to be foul, though.
And, Ryan, when we went on the broadcast to begin the festivities tonight, you were asking about Darren Downs, and I mentioned, how he tries to keep pitches down in the zone, but one Achilles heel for him has been the long ball, and it was shown right there, just a clutch 2-run home run. And you know, it gives the Skeeters not only some breathing room, but so much confidence right now, because you look up, it's not 1-0, it's 3-0, and Carlos Pimentel is relaxed in the third base dugout saying, you know, now I have a 3-run cushion in my back pocket.
And I mean, you look at the way the series has gone, you take away that first inning, the Skeeters have now scored the Ducks 8-2. It's just that one bottom of the first inning that was really the Achilles heel last night. 0-1 pitch to Martinson, and he's out in front of that off-speed pitch, moves to 0-2. Skeeters have put up a 3 spot here to begin game number 2 of the Atlantic League Championship Series. Albert Cordero putting the exclamation point with a 2-run homer. And Coco, that's one of the biggest trademarks for his swing, is he can really have that power stroke from the left and the right side. Martinson takes a breaking ball, and the backdoor pitch catches the zone for strike 3. But the Skeeters have taken a 3-0 lead in the top of the first, game number 2. Here on Long Island at Bethpage Ballpark, we head to the bottom of the first inning. Skeeters out in front, 3-0. We'll be back here in just a moment. And welcome back. We are live at Bethpage Ballpark on Long Island, and the Skeeters have jumped up to a 3-0 lead here tonight as Carlos Pimentel is towing the rubber for just the first time, and we'll go over Pimentel's numbers here in the regular season. Had a little bit of a shaky end to his year, but really at points was the ace of the staff. 6-4, 3.92 ERA. He made 12 starts, 18 total appearances. As a Duck last year, he was only used out of the bullpen. He made 39 appearances for the Ducks last season, 5-3 with a 3.13 ERA. And you'll get Ray Fuentes here to lead it off. Albert Cordero, a 2-run homer and an RBI double from Wynton Bernard, has your Skeeters out in front here in game 2. So we'll see if the Skeeters can keep the Ducks off the scoreboard here in the first. They scored 5 last night, and it started here with Fuentes, who singled and takes the first pitch strike. He's behind 0-1.
Fuentes 1 for 3 with a sacrifice bunt and a run scored at the top of the lineup last evening.
That one misses low, so the count evens up here to Fuentes, 1-1. So we'll play here on Long Island tonight, off day tomorrow, and games 3 and hopefully 4 and maybe 5 if necessary at Constellation Field Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 1-1 pitch to the former big leaguer Fuentes, chop foul off to the right side. Fuentes is actually a cousin of Carlos Beltran. Spent some time in the big leagues with the Padres as well as the Diamondbacks. Speedster, kind of much like Rico Noel, once he gets on, you got to always be aware of the speed threat. So Albert Cordero, this is his first start behind the plate this postseason. He had been playing first base predominantly. Blair Beck at first base tonight. Pimentel's 1-2 pitch. That one popped up toward Martinson in shallow left field. Martinson calls off Bernard, and that one was way up there, and it comes back down in Martinson's glove for the first out here in the bottom of the first.
You know, Ryan, sometimes after you have a 3-0 lead, the toughest out to record when you toe the rubber is that first out, and Pimentel is able to erase the speedy Fuentes, and, you know, from there, now he probably breathes a little bit of a sigh of relief knowing that, okay, I got that job done, and, you just feel confident and, move forward going with your plan of attack. It's always just so difficult, even with a big lead, early lead, to get that out number 1.
That'll bring up Lombardozzi, and the first pitch to him was a fastball, catches zone 0-1. And I mean, Mike Housechild was so good last night, Mike. I mean, you just take away that first inning, and he was so sharp, and it just makes it that much more painful knowing that a guy like Housechild, who put up great numbers this year, was good here in the postseason, had a big league career as well. As that one is a good backdoor breaking ball, 0-2, and if you'll note there, Pimentel does that every now and then. He'll go to the quick pitch like he did right there. Doesn't let batters get comfortable.
But you make a tremendous point, though, because we were discussing how Housechild was able to just at least give Pete Incaviglia some depth. He'll have a well-rested bullpen tonight, and hopefully Pimentel can go deep into this game as well.
That one is a fastball, misses up. Count moves to 2-2 to Lombardozzi.
Lombardozzi last night was 1 for 3 with a sacrifice fly. So, we mentioned the top of the lineup for Sugarland trying to produce tonight, and the same goes for Fuentes and Lombardozzi setting the table for the big bats.
1-2 pitch there, misses up once again. A couple of fastballs that are up in the zone. Count evens at 2-2. 3-0 lead for the Skeeters. Here in the bottom of the first inning, 1 away. Pimentel works off that third base side of the rubber. His 2-2 pitch, swung on a miss. Lombardozzi down swinging, and that is out number 2.
That's just a nasty tailing fastball by Pimentel. His battery mate in Albert Cordero was setting up away, and that's just great communication between those two. As it may have been a little bit off of the plate, but Lombardozzi chased, and that's a perfectly placed pitch by Carlos Pimentel.
A severe contrast from last night. 2 quick outs here, and that'll bring up Lou Ford, who in his first at-bat last night singled in a run, but now comes up with nobody on and 2 away, and the Skeeters up 3-0. Ford, the former Baltimore Oriole, Minnesota Twin, can still swing it at the age of 43. And that one is a called strike 2. Ford 0-1.
Every year I call him the ageless Lou Ford, and figuring that that's going to be the final season that he's a member of the Atlantic League. Nope.
He really kind of is taking on the Tom Brady persona. Like 5 years ago, you thought, oh, maybe he'll be done. It's 5 years later, and Ford had a pretty good year. 10th season with the Ducks. Count evened up here at 1-1. 2 away in the bottom of the first inning. Skeeters on in front 3-0, and the 1-1 pitch, a beautiful breaking ball from Pimentel, and Ford crossed up a bit there. He takes, count moves to 1-2.
You have to give credit to the Long Island Ducks front office, because under Kevin Baez, the previous manager, now Wally Backman, Lou Ford is a player coach, the hitting coach. So when his career does come to an end playing-wise, he has another career ahead as a coach.
1-2 pitch up and in, and forces Ford to back out there. Count evens at 2-2. That was a route the Skeeters took this year. They didn't have a player coach last year, but Dan Runzler, the pitching coach, also out of the bullpen at lefty. And earlier in the year, we had Josh Prince, hitter, our second baseman, as well as our hitting coach, Roy Merritt, did that as well. So I kind of like that route.
Yeah, and I could also see Lou Ford managing somewhere someday
Sure.
as well.
2-2 pitch. Swung on a miss. Gets away from Cordero, though, all the way to the backstop. I don't believe he's going to have a play. So a strikeout to Ford, but a wild pitch allows him to move to first base. So what could have been out number 3 there turns into a base runner for the Ducks with 2 outs in the bottom of the first.
And that's just heads-up base running by Lou Ford. He looked behind him and saw the ball got away from Albert Cordero, and he hustled down to the first base bag. And, the inning continues now for L.J. Mazzilli.
So L.J. Mazzilli up here with 2 down, and Ford on first base. Skeeters lead 3-0 in the bottom of the first. Just 1 pitch away from striking out a pair of batters. So technically, Pimentel still striking out a pair of batters here, but a little more work to do with 2 away. That one in the dirt, and this time stopped by Cordero. A couple pitches spiked there by Pimentel. Count moves to 1-0 to Mazzilli.
Mazzilli was 1 for 4 last night, and he was also caught stealing. And the Ducks had the lead. They picked up some insurance runs looking for more, and Mazzilli was just caught off guard. And that's credit to this Sugarland defense, especially the catcher.
An all-star this year. Mazzilli did some damage against the Skeeters in the regular season. Looking to get him out here. That one grounded up the middle. Diving stop by Mortensen. Flips with the glove to Jansanti for out number 3. Heck of a play by Jason Mortensen to end the inning. Glove flip on the diving stop, and that is going to do it here in the bottom of the first. The Ducks go without a hit, get a base runner on a strikeout on a wild pitch, and Jason Martinson retires the side with a phenomenal play at shortstop. We head to the top of the second here on Long Island. Game number 2 of the Atlantic League Championship Series. Back here in just a moment. Skeeters lead 3-0. All right, welcome back live here at Bethpage Ballpark. It is the top of the second inning. Skeeters out in front 3-0. Zach Bornstein fouled off the first pitch of the inning. Count moves to 0-1. Skeeters with 3 runs at the top of the first, and Carlos Pimentel works a scoreless half, and that one looped over the head of the second baseman, Lombardozzi, and Bornstein's going to start at the top of the inning with a base hit. Skeeters putting their leadoff man on in each of the first 2 frames tonight with a single.
And the only left-handed bat in the lineup for Pina Cavilla in Zach Bornstein. Just turns on the fastball in the inner half thrown by Darren Downs, and he picks up a leadoff bloop single. Good start again for Sugarland here in the second. And as you said, second consecutive inning in which the leadoff man is on.
Last inning it was Rico Noel who started the game off with a single. Now Bornstein, who's got prodigious power, kind of just got jammed there and looped it over the head of Lombardozzi. That's the kind of luck you need here. That'll bring up Blair Beck, his first at-bat of the postseason. He pops it up. Shallow right field, converging on it is Lombardozzi, and he is going to make the play. Did not look very easy, but he is able to grab it there in foul territory for out number 1.
It's a nice play there by Steve Lombardozzi. He was converging over in foul territory on the right side with David Washington. He called him off and then overran the baseball just a little bit and had to retreat and make a nice catch for the first out.
That was almost a worst-case scenario there for the Ducks because that ball looked like it may have bounced into fair territory, at least off the glove of Lombardozzi while he was still in fair territory, and he had to make an adjustment there for out number 1. So the number 9 hitter for the Skeeters, Javier Betancourt, who has moved over to second base tonight, is up with 1 away. Bornstein on first. Skeeters ahead 3-0 here in the top of the second, game number 2. Downs out of the stretch. His first pitch to Betancourt. He swings and lines it up the middle. That's going to be a base hit for Javier Betancourt. Second single of the inning, and Javier Betancourt, who went hitless last night, is aboard in his first at-bat this evening.
Darren Downs is a strike thrower, and obviously the scouting report for the Skeeters tonight to this lineup was if it's first pitch fastball, go after it. And we've seen Sugarland being very aggressive early on in this game. The home run by Cordero came on a first pitch fastball. Now here, Betancourt first pitch fastball picks up a single. So I really like the approach early on in this game, the first time through the order for Sugarland against Darren Downs.
Two singles this inning for the Skeeters. And now the top of the order reset here. It'll be Rico Noel who singled and scored in his first at-bat with 1 away. Takes the first pitch of breaking ball from Downs, and it's called a strike, 0-1. Skeeters threatening once again. They scored 3 in the top half of the first, and now a runner in scoring position here in the second. Zach Borenstein on second, Javier Betancourt on first. Noel, the 0-1 pitch to him is another breaking ball. That one also catches the outside part of the plate. Quickly 0-2 here to the former New York Yankee back here in New York. On deck is Bernard. He had the RBI double in the first. Noel with the big speed, choking up a bit on the bat. The 0-2 pitch to him is fouled away toward the inflatables here down the right field line at Bethpage Park.
Sugar Land in the regular season with runners in scoring position at a .254 team batting average. They're hitting .250 in the postseason. They were 1 for 4 last night, but 1 for 3 so far tonight. And, you know, this is only the 10th batter of the game, and it is showing you that they've had plenty of base runners and chances to add to the lead.
0-2 the count. Noel Borenstein on the move. That one's in the dirt. They're not going to have a play. Double steal for the Skeeters. That is now their second and third stolen bases of the evening. And that is a huge, huge heads-up play by Borenstein, who got a great jump from second base. No throws. The ball is in the dirt. And now runners at second and third, just one down.
Aggressive base running once again. And they are really taking advantage of Darren Downs not doing a good job holding these base runners on. Sugar Land now 6 for 6, Ryan, in this series on the base paths and just continuing to be tremendous in the postseason. 20 for 21 in the stolen base department. Unbelievable.
20 stolen bases, and now just the 6th game they've played in the postseason this year. That was the trademark in the regular season for the Skeeters as well. The 1-2 pitch to Noel as the infield moves in. Chop to Washington. He's going to have to try to beat Noel to the bag, and he, with a head-first slide, does beat Noel. And Borenstein holding up at third base. Man, that was a tough play for Washington with Noel busting it up the line like that.
And it almost cost him. Obviously, he fielded it cleanly on the edge of the infield grass. He looked the runner at third back in Borenstein, but that little bit of time that he did look that runner back might have cost him, as he would have won the easy foot race, but then with the hustling Rico Noel, instead, he had to dive over to first base and slap the bag with his glove for the second out.
Yeah, that's a tough play all around for Washington. Kind of amazing that either the run didn't score or that Noel wasn't safe at first. But 2 away now for Wynton Bernard, and the first pitch to him was a breaking ball, which catches the zone 0-1. So last inning, the Skeeters got 2 outs, and it was a 2-run home run from Albert Cordero. That's where they stand now 3-0, and we're going to need for some more 2-out hitting here. Already 5 hits tonight for the Skeeters. 2 away. Betancourt on second. Borenstein on third. Downs' 0-1 pitch to Bernard is another breaking ball, and that also catches the zone 0-2.
The stolen bases for Borenstein and Betancourt were both their second bags swiped here in the postseason. So that's the other thing. It's just a good amount of balance in terms of the base stealing for Sugar Land.
Just about everyone's a threat to go. The 0-2 pitch. Line hard at second base. Lombardozzi's able to stop it. Spins his low throw to Washington. Washington bobbles it, and it's off his glove. And now Borenstein and Betancourt come around to score as the low throw was not handled by the first baseman Washington. And after an amazing play to get Rico Noel, he is unable to field it there. And the Skeeters are going to tack on another pair here. They now lead 5-0.
That was a hot smash, and it was a tremendous play by Steve Lombardozzi. You know, some things go unrecognized in the box score, Ryan. Lombardozzi had a tough play in terms of the throw, even though he made a nice defensive maneuver. It's the hustle of Wynton Bernard that forced Lombardozzi to make a wide throw at first, and the run comes down from third easily, but credit Borenstein, the trail runner, I should say Betancourt, the trail runner, scoring from second as well.
Never stopped. 5-0 lead here in the top of the second, 2 away. Bernard likely going to be on the move, you'd imagine. The first pitch of Jan Santi has popped up right side and out of play. So another 2 runs scored. The Skeeters have now scored 4 runs with 2 outs tonight. 2 in the first, 2 in the second now, and lead 5-0 over the Ducks. So you put the Ducks right back in that spot they put the Skeeters in last night with a 5-0 lead. Now the Skeeters lead 5-0 here in game 2. Top of the order here now. Bernard at first. They're going to throw over, just a little excuse me throw there. And that's a great point though, Mike, because Lombardozzi, you'd think the way that how hard that ball was struck by Bernard, he'd have all the time in the world to make that throw. He did not. He had to kind of hurry it up.
Right, and because it was hit at him so sharply, he had to knock it down and then get up and make the attempt to first. And, you know, it's all about the hustle. If Winter Bernard is just jogging down to first base, inning over, but because he's motoring out of the batter's box, it forces Lombardozzi after the nice play to make a throw, and it wasn't crisp enough that Washington could stay on the bag.
Bernard dancing around over there, giving Downs all kind of fits. He's going to throw over again, and Bernard back easily. Now Downs unable to field the ball back. You can tell he's a little frustrated because he's not able to do the balk move where you'd be able to keep your foot on the rubber.
And you know, Ryan, we were discussing in last night's game when the Ducks made 2 errors. They had the fewest errors in the Atlantic League in the regular season, and they were tied with Sugar Land for the best fielding percentage. They have now committed 6 errors in the postseason. They're third here in this championship series, and that's not like the Long Island Ducks. And, you know, the Skeeters have taken advantage.
That one skied down the left field line and out of play, so 0-2 the count.
You know the old saying, you don't give a good team extra outs, and that's exactly what they did. And, again, just give Javier Bencourt a lot of credit because the ball got away from David Washington. Bencourt was at third, and then once you saw it trickle past the first baseman, he said, I'm going down the line from third as well. And it's an extra big tack-on run.
Those run, I mean, yeah, here in the championship series, these runs are just ever so important. 5-0 lead now, and another move over there to Bernard.
You can see the body language, though, right now of Darren Downs. On the one pickoff attempt where you said because of the new rule, it doesn't really favor left-handed pitchers. You have to step off and kind of make a lollipop type. Then he dropped the baseball. He just doesn't seem comfortable right now.
He's very frustrated early. That one's hit lightly to free us a short on the run. He makes the throw to get Jansanti in time for out number 3. Not before the Skeeters tack on another pair of runs here on Long Island in game number 2. A 2-base error has put the Skeeters up 5-0. We move to the bottom of the second. Skeeters lead big early. We'll be back here in just a moment. It'll be Davinson Romero leading off for the Ducks here. Skeeters lead 5-0 here in game number 2 of the Atlantic League Championship Series. 3 in the first, 2 in the second. And now Carlos Pimentel returns after a scoreless inning for him in the bottom of the first. His first pitch to Romero is a good breaking ball that drops in there for a strike, 0-1.
Ryan Romero had only 1 hit last night, but it was a big one, a 3-run home run in the first inning against Mike Housechild, part of that 5-run bottom of the first for Long Island.
That one is up and misses away. 1-1 the count to Romero. Yeah, that home run with 2 away in the bottom of the first was kind of a gut punch early. That gave the Ducks a 4-0 lead at the time, and then obviously David Washington, who is on deck right now, followed with the home run of his own. So 5-0 lead for the Ducks last night, 5-0 lead for the Skeeters here in the bottom of the second inning, and that one is away. 2-1 the count to Romero.
You can just tell the poise right now, though, on the part of Carlos Pimentel. He just seems so relaxed out on that pitcher's mound, feeling like it's just another day of playing catch with Albert Cordero.
Yeah, as Pimentel being familiar with this mound, playing here last year with the Ducks, his 2-1 pitch rather is swung and a miss by Romero. Count moves to 2-2.
That was a nasty fastball, just mano-a-mano right there. You heard the pop in the glove of Cordero, and by far, I think the best pitch in terms of velocity by Pimentel so far in this game.
Pimentel had a pair of strikeouts, although Lou Ford, he struck out and was able to get the first on a wild pitch back in the first inning. Now he's got a 2-2 count here to Ramiro, and Ramiro hits that sharply third base side, diving attempt by Betancourt, but it gets under his glove and into left field. That is the first hit of the night for the Ducks, a leadoff single here in the second for Davidson Ramiro.
Ramiro just stayed back on that fastball on the inner half, and a valiant effort on the part of Betancourt on the dive to his left to no avail. And now let's see if the Ducks can respond. A leadoff base runner here against Pimentel here in the second.
So David Washington comes up for the first time tonight. He had 2 homers last night. The Skeeters lead 5-0 here in just the bottom of the second inning. It's been a beautiful, beautiful scene here to start this one after a 7-5 loss last night, in which it just seemed like the Skeeters were going to be able to come back and tie that one up at some point, but there was too big of a hole dug, and this guy had a lot to do with that. 2 home runs for Washington. First pitch to Amir is a fastball inside, taking 1-0, but we were talking about this in the pregame show, Mike. These are teammates from last year, and I tend to agree with what you said in the pregame show, that who has the upper hand. I think it's the pitcher, because, and not only that, you have Albert Cordero, who's played in this league since 2016. He knows David Washington fairly well, too, so they did have a good idea of what pitch you don't want to throw to him. 1-0. That one, it catches the zone, evens the count at 1-1, and both of Washington's homers last night, opposite field. He has some big-time power.
You know, that's an excellent point that you just made. Not only do you feel like the pitcher has the advantage against his former ball club, but it's always so nice for the confidence level of a pitcher to have such a tremendous battery mate in, the catcher in Albert Cordero tonight.
Cordero making his first start behind the plate this postseason. Fastball away, good spot there, low and away, dots the corner. 1-2 the count here to Washington.
It's really feast or famine for David Washington. Kudos to him. He's had a tremendous season in terms of the home runs, but he's also very prone to the strikeout, and I like this approach. He started inside against Washington, beginning the at-bat, and now a lot of the other pitches have been away.
Count 1-2 to the Ducks first baseman, and that 1-2 pitch, fastball inside, just a little bit too far inside.
But it makes Washington think, okay, pitch number 1, inside corner. The last 2 pitches away. Now pitch number 4 again on the inner half. So you don't know where the location is going to be if you're David Washington.
Well, Mike, you talk about the feast or famine, and you're right. Washington, former big leaguer. Wait for this pitch to finish the saw here as Pimentel out of the stretch. Long set his 2-2 pitch in the dirt, and that one gets away from Cordero, and that's going to allow Ramiro to move to second on a wild pitch or a pass ball. We'll see if that gets scored, but either way, the Ducks have pushed their first runner in scoring position tonight here with nobody down. But to finish that thought, the Ducks came to town in May for the first time this year to Sugarland. Washington took Roy Merritt deep twice, and I mean, they were 430-foot plus home runs each time. I mean, one of them left the stadium out in Sugarland over the berm in right field, but then they came back in July, and in a I believe it was a 6-game series, Washington struck out almost twice each game, so you get kind of the two sides there for Washington, and right here, full count, you're hoping you can hit the strikeout. 3-2 pitch, chopped lightly, and foul down the first base side. Count still full here.
And you know that I've been to Constellation Field. To hit a home run completely out of that ballpark, it's crushed. It
takes some big time power just to get it onto the berm. He hit it over the berm, over our ad walls out there and right.
Over the bullpens too,
yes,
right?
It cleared everything. It almost cleared the city of Sugarland. But then again, like I said, in July he could not put the ball in play. So last night, a couple power swings, but a chance to strike him out here. The 3-2 pitch, beautiful backdoor breaking ball, called strike 3. And Washington down looking for the first time tonight as Pimentel, a gutsy pitch there on the breaking ball on the outside part of the plate. Beautiful spot for the first out of the second inning.
Washington was not ready for that. He was sitting dead red fastball, and why not on a payoff pitch? And boy, that was just tremendous on the part of Carlos Pimentel. He froze Washington on that 3-2 pitch, and that's a big first out because the runner at second in Romero remains there.
So Romero, as Mike mentioned, on second base with one away. And that'll bring up the catcher for the Ducks, Ramon Cabrera. 5-0 lead for the Skeeters here in the bottom of the second inning at Bethpage Ballpark. The last time these two teams will play here, last time anybody will play ball here in 2019. And the first pitch to Cabrera, another backdoor breaking ball, and just a bit outside, 1-0 count. Skeeters have a good battery mate, or a good group of catchers with Cody Stanley and Albert Cordero. The Ducks also possess a pretty good set of catchers, Hector Sanchez and Ramon Cabrera, both former big leaguers. And both switch hitters, so giving you a little versatility. That one to Cabrera outside, 2-0.
Yeah, I have to make a correction. During the pregame show, I mentioned that Cabrera committed 2 errors last night behind the dish. It was actually Hector Sanchez, the other catcher for Long Island that was behind the plate in game number 1.
But it doesn't really matter to the Skeeters. They ran rampant on Sanchez last night, and they've already stolen 3 bases here tonight, and we're just in the 2nd inning, so they'll test anybody. That speed is definitely the trademark of the Skeeters team. 2-0 pitch, fouled straight back into the net. Count moves to 2-1 here. I will make a caveat, though. So we're talking about how the pitcher may have the upper hand when you face a teammate. Now, what happens when you face a guy like Cabrera who caught you all the time last year? I feel like Cabrera, he knows better than anybody how much movement each pitch for Pimentel has, where they like to attack guys in certain counts. So we'll see here as you got Pimentel, the former Long Island Duck, who has been very effective this year for the Skeeters. It's really the first tight spot of the ball game for him as Ramiro singled and moved to second on a wild pitch, and he remains there at second base. 1 down here in the bottom of the 2nd. 2-1 pitch from Pimentel. Fastball up, and he got Cabrera to chase, but that one's going to find the seats behind home plate. Count even at 2-2.
It's a terrific point that you made, though, Ryan, because, again, we agree that we feel like the pitcher has the advantage when facing former teammates, but when one of those teammates is
your catcher,
the catcher who basically knows everything about you,
and they game plan together so you know exactly what kind of pitches you like to go early in the count, late in the count, but he's got a chance to put him away here. Even count, 2-2. Pimentel delivers it, line up the middle. That's going to be a base hit. Struck well, though. Rico Noel up with it. They're going to hold Ramiro at third base, and they might, they're not going to have Cabrera in a hot box there, but Cabrera thought about going to second as Noel overshot Blair Beck, the cutoff man. So good, strong throw from Rico Noel, and that one was, I think, hit just a little too hard to send Ramiro from third base. So runs in the corners here, 1 down in the bottom of the 2nd.
Wet infield, wet outfield. Credit Rico Noel for fielding the line drive cleanly and making the throw. It did go over the head of the cutoff man in Blair Beck, and it was fielded by Cordero. Cordero was ready to throw to first base, but it was unoccupied because Beck was at the pitcher's mound. But I think that's a wise move by Wally Beck. You don't want to run yourself out of a potentially big inning, and Ramiro doesn't have a lot of speed. And it really was a good throw by Rico Noel to the plate. So now, I know Frias is a speedy infielder, but a double play could get Pimentel out of this inning unscathed.
Infield pop-up would work, too, as the Skeeters have Betancourt in at third, but the middle infielder is back, hoping for that double play ball Mike just referenced. And a first pitch strike across to Frias, 0-1. Ducks shortstop here in the 8th spot. Daniel Fields, the lefty right fielder, on deck. Skeeters lead 5-0. We're in the bottom of the 2nd inning. 1 away, runners in the corners for the Ducks. 0-1 pitch is a fastball outside part of the plate, just a little bit off the plate. Count evens up at 1-1.
Frias was 2 for 3 with a double and a run scored last night. Including the postseason, he's riding a 6-game hitting streak and 14-game on-base streak for Long Island.
With the Barnstormers last year, had a good season there up in Lancaster. That one is shot foul left side there. So 1-2 the count. Big spot if you can get a strikeout here and keep that runner at third. Ramiro at third, Cabrera at first. So not really blazing speed on the base paths here. But the Ducks are threatening for the first time here. It's game number 2 of the Atlantic League Championship Series. We are live from Bethpage Ballpark on Long Island. Pimentel, who still works off that third base side of the rubber. His 1-2 pitch to Frias. Almost swung on a miss. Fouled into the glove of Cordero and almost able to hang on. So count moves to 1-2.
And Frias caught a bit of a break there as that ball literally went into and out of the glove of the catcher, Cordero. But, for Pimentel, he did beat Frias with that heater there. So let's see if he goes back to that pitch. Also, don't be surprised here, Ryan. You mentioned how he's had that backdoor breaking ball, a very effective secondary pitch. He might go to that pitch as well here in this 1-2 count.
Pimentel's 1-2 to Frias. Check swing. Did he go around? They say he did. Big strikeout from Carlos Pimentel for out number 2. And it takes a lot for a check swing to be called. And, I mean, that time it certainly looked like Frias went around. And I think that was a good call there from our third base umpire tonight, Freddie DeJesus. And with runners on the first and third, with runners on first and third for the Ducks here, that strikeout is huge as it's going to keep the Skeeters at 5-0 here with the lead, 2 away now, and you got Daniel Fields up, a tough out, but a chance to tightrope out of trouble here in the bottom of the 2nd.
Fields was 0 for 2 with a walk last night, but you're right, it's just a king-size strikeout of Frias by Pimentel.
The runners on the corners, Pimentel going to step off. This is the first runner the Ducks have put in a scoring position as well as third base tonight. Skeeters have scored 3 in the first, 2 in the second, looking to hold on to that 5-0 lead. The first pitch to Fields, good fastball on the inside part of the plate. Back to Fields up a bit and called a ball. 1-0.
Long Island this season with runners in scoring position and 2 out. In the regular season at a .235 batting average. They were 3 for 6 last night.
Ramon Cabrera, the catcher, at first. Dave Benson Romero at third. The 1-0 pitch to Fields, chopped right to Blair Beck at first base. And, ooh, we're going to say it was a foul ball as that almost got the Skaters out of the inning there. That was going to be an easy 3 unassisted. 1-1 now, the count to Daniel Fields.
The Ducks are actually 3 for 6 in the postseason with runners in scoring position and 2 out overall.
Carlos Pimentel struck out 4 batters already tonight through just an inning and 2/3. Against his former teammates here on Long Island. We are sure happy to have him in Sugar Land. I mean, but outside of 3 kind of rocky starts to end the year, he had a sub-3 ERA all season long. He's got a 1-1 count here to the former big leaguer Daniel Fields, who loops that foul down the third base side. No play for Javier Betancourt. 1-2 now the count.
Yeah, you mentioned Daniel Fields, a former big leaguer. He played for his hometown Detroit Tigers in 2015, and you know that was also the team that his dad, former major leaguer Bruce Fields, played for. So he grew up rooting for the Tigers when he was a youngster, and then played for them. That's pretty neat.
That is pretty neat. 1-2 the count. 2 Fields, a 9-hitter for the Ducks. Runners on the corners, 2 away. 1-2 pitch, fastball inside, does not get the call. Count evens at 2-2. Albert Cordero thinking about backpicking Romero there at third base. That is a one stark difference I noticed between Cordero and Stanley behind the plate. Albert Cordero, very much like Yadi and Molina, he is really not afraid to backpick in any situation, even if it's just to kind of signal over to a runner, hey, I see you. I'm not necessarily trying to get you out, but I'm going to let you know that you're not going to be able to get a comfy lead over there. And Romero's taking a lot of liberties there down the third base line. The 2-2 pitch outside taken. Makes it a full count here, so Cabrera's going to be on the move from first base with the full count and 2 away. Skeeters still leading 5-0 here in Game 2 of the Atlantic League Championship Series in the bottom of the second inning. Ray Fuentes, the leadoff man, on deck. Already 1 strikeout here with a runner on third of this inning for Pimentel. Can he get another? Long set, full count pitch. That one is swung and a miss, strike 3. Fields chases one to the dirt. Carlos Pimentel has struck out 5 through 2 innings of work. The Skeeters right-hander, who was the stopper in the last series, has quieted the Ducks bat through the first 2 innings tonight. Skeeters lead 5-0, and we're on to the third inning here on Long Island. Back here in just a moment. Back live at Bethpage Ballpark on Long Island. We're into the top of the third inning as Dennis Phipps has swung and missed at the first pitch from Darren Downs here. It's been all Skeeters so far tonight, 5-0 the lead. After dropping game one by the score of 7-5, a backdoor breaking ball there from Downs is a bit outside. Count evens at 1-1. Skeeters have come out with a vengeance here, have taken an early 5-0 lead, 3 runs in the first, 2 in the second, and the man on deck, Albert Cordero, responsible for a good portion of that, a 2-run homer. 1-1 to Phipps is down to the dirt. Count moves to 2-1.
You know, Darren Downs is one of those players who became a professional right out of high school. He was selected by the Cubs in the 5th round of the 2003 MLB Junior Amateur Draft out of Santa Lucy's Community High School.
That one chopped left side and going to get foul, so count still 2-2.
You see that a lot in terms of players being drafted out of high school, but then they elect to go to college and then hope that, you know, it pays off. Sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does, but, you know, give Darren Downs credit. He's one of those, you have to call him a veteran. It just seems like he's been pitching professionally since, you know, he's graduated high school.
That's crazy, yeah, and that's indeed. The 2-2 to Phipps and chases that one low, and Phipps is wondering if he fouled that one off. He's not going to get the call there, it looks like. Yep, they say he missed that one. Down on strikes. Phipps has gone down swinging twice tonight. Phipps has homered in 3 straight games, though. And the man who homered in his first at-bat tonight, Albert Cordero, the 2-run shot, finished off a 3-run top of the first inning for the Skeeters. 5-0 the lead for the Skeeters here in the top of the third inning. It's the last road game of the year for the Skeeters, regardless of the outcome. First pitch to Cordero is in there for a strike from Downs. So the Skeeters, they faced Downs 3 times this year. The most they scored off him was the July 13th start, in which Downs allowed 3 runs on 5 innings. They've already tacked him for 5 through 2 1/3 tonight, and that one is swung and a miss by Cordero, low and in. He's quickly down 0-2.
Well, I think this is going to be a battle tonight between 2 power-type strikeout pitchers. We've seen, you know, Downs having tallied 4 now with his strikeout of Phipps to start this fourth inning, I should say, third inning, and then 5 for Pimentel so far.
Yeah, Pimentel working out of trouble last inning. Stranded runners on the corners there. Had the runners on the corners with just 1 away. Back-to-back strikeouts of Frias and Fields ending the inning there for the Ducks.
Downs had 7 strikeouts in it. Game 1 of the Liberty Division Championship Series against the High Point Rockers. A quality start. His bullpen could not, you know, preserve the lead, but it was a very impressive outing by Downs.
That one in the dirt gets away from Cabrera. Count moves to 2-2 here to Cordero. Mike Coco, after hitting 12 long balls in 2018, that was his career high. Hit 15, doubled down on those career highs this year, and ended with career highs in home runs and RBIs, 15 and 65. So, you know, as his career goes on, he's starting to find that power stroke, kind of the way the game's trending in general here. And already a postseason home run tonight. Good take by Cordero on the outside part of the plate. So after going down 0-2, count moves full here with 1 away, top of the third.
And he's a switch hitting catcher. You don't find that very often nowadays.
There's 3 of them between these 2 teams, so it's pretty rare they find that many. The full count pitch to Cordero, chopped left side, foul by our third base coach, Willie Tavares.
You know, Darren Downs with his 7 strikeouts in Game 1 of the Liberty Division Championship Series now has 11 times this season, regular season and postseason, that he has struck out 7 or more batters in a ball game, and he could be on his way to another 7+ strikeout performance tonight with 4 already in the first 2 1/3 innings of this ball game.
Full count pitch to Cordero, popped up, maybe playable for Washington there. He's ranging toward the Ducks dugout down the first base side, and Washington on the run makes the play as he clangs up a bit against the Ducks dugout there for out number 2.
It's a nice play by David Washington. I think he battled the lights here at Bethpage Ballpark momentarily, and then he saw where the baseball was in flight and had to hustle over towards the first base dugout. Luckily, he had his teammates protecting him by that protective area, you know, along the first base side. I don't know if he would gotten that much help on the third base side.
No, he was running toward the right dugout for sure right there. First pitch to the shortstop, Jason Martinson, is a breaking ball in for a strike.
You know, this is almost a mirror image of what we were discussing last night for Mike Housechild and Darren Downs. Now, Ryan trying to just settle in and give some innings to Wally Backman as this game moves along, down by 5 runs. I feel like that's what we were saying on the other end of last night's game with Housechild early, having allowed the 5 runs in the bottom of the first inning. You know, now he's looking for and downs his first 1, 2, 3 inning of the ball game, and sometimes that's just one inning that you can propel and move forward and, you know, start to ease into the course of this game.
1-1 the count to Martinson, and he's out in front of the breaking ball there, 1-2. And yeah, the way that Pimentel's looked tonight, Mike, I mean, 5 runs looks like it's going to be plenty. He's already picked up 5 strikeouts. The Ducks did push a runner to third base last inning, but held off the scoreboard for the second time tonight. And Downs, as Mike just mentioned, looking for his first 1, 2, 3 inning of the game. He's got Phipps and Cordero out so far here in the third. Skeeters out in front, 5-0. One and 2 the count to the Skeeters shortstop, and that one misses inside. 2-2. Martinson last night took one off the hands, and it was a scary scene because he went down pretty quickly, and that's one place where you can get hit, and the guys, when they tend to get hit in that area, they're going to the injured list. But Martinson was able to stay in the game and made a phenomenal play at shortstop in the first tonight, a diving stop, and ended the first inning with that play. Down the 2-2 count to him is a backdoor breaking ball, bit outside. They're going to make it a full count here to Martinson, who was the team leader in walks for the Skeeters. Also found himself in the top 10 in the league in that category. Ended the year with 76 walks, good for 4th in the Atlantic League. Looking to get on as a 2-out base runner here.
He's got a great eye at the plate. He really does.
Full count pitch inside, taking for a ball. So Martinson reaches here with 2 away, and Downs will not get that 1, 2, 3 inning. And again, you know, you talk about the body language. It's a hot night. Takes the hat off. You can kind of tell he's walking way behind the mound right now. This is not a start he's accustomed to. His ERA this year was sub-3. He handled the Skeeters for most of the year, but tonight it's been all Sugarland.
And here's the bottom line, Ryan. No matter what happens in the remainder of this half inning, instead of Darren Downs now being in the first base dugout, completing this top of the third, now he has to face another batter in Borenstein who already singled against him, so the pitch count continues to rise.
Borenstein singled in his first at-bat, and a little show-me move from Downs there with Martinson aboard.
And, you know, you made a great point earlier about the new Atlantic League rule in which the pitchers have to step off of the rubber, and it really affects left-handed pitchers. Darren Downs, before that new rule, had one of, if not the best, pickoff moves in all of the Atlantic League.
And on the move goes Martinson. Martinson was at the first pitch, grounds it, though, right at David Washington. They're going to say a foul ball, though. So we had one of those for the Skeeters last inning where it looks like Blair Beck was going to get an easy 3 unassisted, and new life here for Borenstein and the Skeeters. Martinson probably had second base stolen there.
He got a huge jump, you're right.
I mean, everyone on the Skeeters, Mike, seemed to have 10 stolen bases this year, and Martinson was included. So another guy, you know, a speed throw to go. We saw Albert Cordero last night steal a base as well. I mean, there's not really anybody in this lineup. I've seen Dennis Phipps steal a few bases this year. They got the green light, and they've used it extensively. I got to imagine Martinson's probably going to go on the next pitch, and he does. This time Borenstein takes the throw down from Ramon Cabrera, not even close. And another stolen base here tonight for the Skeeters. That's their 4th stolen base, and we're still in the 3rd inning tonight. And a 5-0 lead for the Skeeters, and now in each of the first 3 innings, the Skeeters have pushed a runner into scoring position.
7 for 7 in this series now, and 21 for 22 in the postseason. It's just it's a ridiculous number.
And that's really paced the team tonight. The speed on the bases, whether it's stolen base or just forcing a quick throw like Lombardozzi had to do last inning with the speed of Whitten Bernard. The speed affects the game in just more than stolen bases, and the Skeeters are making the Ducks work here early on tonight. 1-2 now the count to Borenstein, 2 away. Martinson the runner on second base, and Skeeters lead 5-0 here in the top of the 3rd.
And that's Martinson's 4th stolen base in the playoffs. We just keep saying that.
Yeah, those stolen bases are huge because now, like with Borenstein, who's singled in his first at-bat, if he's able to hit the ball into right field like he did in his last at-bat, you're talking about a 6-0 lead. 1-2 pitch to Borenstein, and jammed a bit there, fouls it straight back. Count still at 1-2.
And this is what we were discussing. Now, last night the power display was on par for the Long Island Ducks with their 3 home runs in their victory. And, you know, we saw the home run late by Dennis Phipps, but it's small ball here that shows why Sugarland is such a good team. All of this has happened with 2 out and nobody on. It looked like Downs was going to have a very easy and an economical 1, 2, 3 inning, and now he has to prevent the lead from extending.
That one is taken low and away. That is a tough take from Zach Borenstein, the only lefty in the lineup. So the only guy who really has to deal with that breaking ball moving low and away like that, and he's able to lay off, evens the count at 2-2. Cody Stanley, the other lefty on the Skeeters roster, getting the night off with Downs on the mound. 2-2 to Bornstein. Shot foul, right side, so going to stay alive here. Bornstein had a huge home run in Game 4 of the Freedom Division Championship Series. A 2-run shot briefly gave the Skeeters the lead late in that ball game. That was his first and only home run of the postseason so far, but he had 16 of them in the regular season. That was second only to Dennis Phipps. Bornstein played essentially the entire year, joined the Skeeters in May, so he missed the first 3 or 4 series of the season.
Downs has now thrown 66 pitches.
We're just in the top of the 3rd inning. 2-2 pitch to Bornstein. Fastball taken up, so Bornstein's going to run it full here. First base open.
This goes back to what you were alluding to earlier in this game with Darren Downs. This is the 4th full count. 3 of the 4 have been in this inning and the at-bats to Phipps, Cordero, Martinson, and now Bornstein.
Full count pitch upcoming to Bornstein. Hit right side and off the diving attempt of Washington. That's going to allow Martinson to score from second base easily. So an RBI knock from Zach Bornstein, and the Skeeters have taken a 6-0 lead. And in the top of the 3rd inning, the Skeeters have now scored in the first 3 innings of the game, and David Washington, another ball that kicks off his glove, allowing him a run to score, this time on a diving attempt, going and trying to prevent the ball from reaching right field. Clutch 2-out hitting tonight for the Skeeters. They've scored 5 of their 6 runs now with 2 away.
And as we just said, all this happening, Ryan, with 2 out and nobody on. A walk, a stolen base, and an RBI single. Zach Bornstein, as we had mentioned, the only left-handed bat in the lineup, 2 for 2 now against Darren Downs, as Bornstein is able to bring in his 6th run of the postseason, tops on this Skeeters ball club.
He had an RBI single last night and 2 hits tonight and another RBI single. And Blair Beck swinging at the first pitch, drives it well, right field. Field's on the move. That one's going to get into the corner and out of play. That one had the distance. And Blair Beck, I got to tell you, Mike, I was watching him take batting practice. This is his first start of the postseason. He was turning this place into a launching pad during batting practice back on Monday when we arrived on Long Island. And he's got power in that bat. It's kind of crazy. His very first at-bat of the year coming back in the month of June was a home run. And he got to the ballpark about an hour before first pitch, was not in the lineup. An injury forced him into the lineup. Homers in his first at-bat. He didn't have a home run with the Windy City Thunderbolts all year, who he was playing with prior to joining the Skeeters. 0-1 pitch, and he's out in front of that one. Quickly down 0-2.
Well, I can allude to the fact that Blair Beck had his coming out party against the New Britain Bees when the Bees were fighting for a postseason berth. Their last homestand, a 5-game series against Sugar Land, and Blair Beck was penciled in by Pete Gavilia that weekend, and he went off offensively. A tremendous series, and also very good defense as well.
It's down 0-2 here, 2 away. Bornstein on first, Skeeters out in front 6-0, and Bornstein on the move there, but Beck fouls it off to stay alive. It's such a tough job, and it's one of those unsung hero jobs, and Javier Betancourt really played that role up until the postseason. Guys having to come off the bench, and you're thrown right into the fire, expected to produce right away. And the nice thing about Beck is you see him playing first tonight. He's played a little third this year. He's played left field, played right field. So if you're only going to have 2 guys on the bench, what the Skeeters do, you need to be able to have versatility, which they do.
That's a utility player for you.
0-2 with the count to Beck. Swung on a miss, strike 3. He's down swinging. But the Skeeters tack on another run here in the top of the 3rd inning. An RBI single from Zach Bornstein has put the defending champions out in front 6-0 in game number 2 of the Atlantic League Championship Series. Ryan Posner and Mike Moore here with you on the call live from Long Island. We are back in just a moment. Welcome back. We are live on Long Island. It has been a great night to be a Skeeters fan. 6-0 lead for the defending champs here. We're moving on to the bottom of the third inning. Carlos Pimentel, his first pitch to the leadoff man, Ray Fuentes, is outside for a ball, 1-0. 5 strikeouts tonight through 2 scoreless innings for Carlos Pimentel on his return to Bethpage Ballpark against the Ducks. The Ducks put a runner on third last inning. Pimentel was able to get out of trouble, and Fuentes out in front of that one. 1-1 the count now. Skeeters have scored 3 in the first, 2 in the second, 1 in the third. Lead 6-0. A beautiful sight for sore eyes after last night's game. That one lined in right field, right at Zach Bornstein, though. Started in and goes back a few steps. Makes the play with ease for out number 1.
And Ryan, the thing you like about Pimentel right now, he is playing as if he does have that 6-run advantage. You know, what you want to do in these situations is just go right after the batters. You don't want to waste at-bats by the way of the free pass, and, you know, just go at these Ducks hitters and say, here's what I have. Go for it, see what you have, and, you know, just make them earn it offensively without allowing them to get those free bases.
I mean, being out in front 6-0, you're really able to just challenge guys, go after him. And Lombardozzi attempts to bunt there and gets a good one down. Pimentel a barehanded attempt, but he's just going to eat it there and not throw it. That is a bunt single for Lombardozzi. Just the third hit tonight for the Ducks.
A smart move there by Pimentel. He did hustle to his right and made the barehanded play, but, you know, no risk. Lombardozzi with good speed coming out of the batter's box from the left side of the plate. You don't want to make a throw wide and then have Lombardozzi possibly move up into scoring position, because there's one man down, and, you know, with all due respect, Lou Ford is the batter and he's prone to the double play.
Yeah, so you definitely kind of cut your losses there. And it's funny, Mike, right when that bunt got laid down, I was thinking of the play with Jameson McGrain in game number 4 where the Skeeters won, and McGrain trying to make a throw going to his backside, threw it away, and Pimentel right there, I think, you just let, that was a good bunt by Lombardozzi, let him get his base and hope to get 2. 6-0 lead for the Skeeters here at the bottom of the third. First pitch breaking ball to Lou Ford is inside, 1-0 the count. Ford is 0 for 1 tonight, struck out and then reached first on a wild pitch. One of the 5 strikeouts tonight through 2 1/3 innings for Pimentel, and he gets that one across 1-1.
Ryan, you were discussing how Lou Ford has really turned it on as of late here to close out the regular season. Since July 27th, including the playoffs, he's hitting .404.
Yeah, Lou Ford can still swing it into his 40s here now. That one's foul back. He's down 1-2.
But the numbers are just amazing. 12 doubles, 2 home runs, 23 RBIs, 29 runs scored, a .450 on base percentage, and a .519 slugging percentage. And he's reached base safely in 36 of the last 38 games played, and has had 1 hit in 32 of those 38 games. Just a hitting machine. I guess that's why he's the hitting coach.
I guess so. He's able to get a little swagger with that part of it for sure. The 1-2 count to Ford. Swing and a miss. He is down on strikes for the second time tonight, and this time he's not going to be able to reach first base. So 2 away here. Pimentel has struck out 6 batters through just 2 2/3 innings tonight. He's going to be pushing his season high, and it's only going to be the 3rd inning.
Tremendous tailing fastball there. Ford had absolutely no chance late on that swing, and Pimentel knew exactly what he was going to do in that at-bat against his former teammate, having now struck him out both plate appearances, as you mentioned. 6
strikeouts. That matches the second most he's had this year, outside of a 10 strikeout game against the Revs on August 26th. 6 had been his season high, and he's only through 2 2/3 innings tonight, and now gets LJ Mazzilli, the left fielder, here with 2 down. Skeeters out in front, 6-0 here in the bottom of the 3rd. Carlos Pimentel, after throwing 5 innings, allowing just 1 run to get the Skeeters evened up in Freedom Division Series. It's been in a gem so far tonight. That one misses up and in to Mazzilli. 1-1 the count. The runner on first, Lombardozzi, and it took a bunt single to get on base here in this inning. Pimentel has been that sharp tonight.
And he's getting ahead against the batters. That's the key.
The 1-1 pitch from Pimentel, chop foul. So Mazzilli now down 1-2. I mean, it seems simple, but it's worth noting when you get up by 6 runs, Carlos Pimentel is going up there and he is going right after hitters, much like we saw last night for the Ducks. You know, when you go up 5-0 and you're Vin Mazzaro, you're feeling like you could just go right after hitters. You're not really trying to hit the. I mean, you're still trying to hit the corners, but you're pitching with a lot more swag.
No, you're right. 13 batters faced 7 first pitch strikes, so you know a little better than 50%. Just making the necessary pitches.
1-2, the count to Mazzilli. That one in the dirt. Good waist pitch there, and good stop by Albert Cordero as well. So,
and that goes back to the camaraderie that these two have as a pitcher and catcher all season long. Now, the runner at first is Lombardozzi, but that was a waist pitch, like you said, a slider away. Mazzilli didn't chase, but you have to have the confidence in your catcher to know that you can throw one out of the zone and in the dirt and not allow the runner at first to advance because he can keep the ball in front of him. And it just has Mazzilli guessing now, where is this next pitch going to be?
Already 6 strikeouts tonight. Can there be a 7th? The 2-2 pitch, you certainly bet there. Oh, I got into that strikeout call just a bit early there. It looked like Mazzilli took a full swing, but the appeal to first base said he did not go around. I don't know about you, what you thought there, Mike.
I was right behind you. Chris Engstrand said that he did not go around, but I agree with you, partner. That looked like it was strike 3.
But, hey, and to Engstrand's credit, that is a part of the rules here in the Atlantic League. You're supposed to be more batter-friendly. So that was certainly batter-friendly. Well, on the move is going to be Lombardozzi with the full count pitch. 3-2 pitch grounded to Martinson at short. He is going to go to first the long way for out number 3. And 3 innings, 3 goose eggs put up by Carlos Pimentel here in game number 2 of the Atlantic League Championship Series. We're moving on to the 4th inning. Skeeters lead 6-0. Back here live on Long Island in just a moment. We're back live on Long Island, game number 2 of the Atlantic League Championship Series. Skeeters lead 6-0. And the Skeeters have scored in each of the first 3 innings tonight, and Javier Betancourt, who singled at his first at-bat, scored a run, will lead it off as we got a new pitcher on the mound already for the Ducks tonight, as Darren Downs lasted just 3 innings. His shortest start against the Skeeters this year by a pretty wide margin. And Javier Betancourt going to lead it off. 6-0 the lead for the Skeeters. And Betancourt count evens up at 1-1. The new man on the mound, that's Brendan Feldman for the Ducks. Downs had gone no less than 5 innings in his 3 starts against the Skeeters this year. As a matter of fact, 3 innings matches his shortest start of the year all season. That one sky to left field. Coming on in is L.J. Mazzilli. Mazzilli makes the grab for out number 1.
have the line here on Darren Downs tonight, Ryan. 3 innings pitched, 4 runs allowed on, I should say 6 runs allowed, on 6 hits. 4 of the 6 runs were earned. 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, 1 home run allowed. A total of 71 pitches, 50 for strikes, and just 17 batters faced, 13 first pitch strikes. A very short outing, like you said, for Darren Downs.
6-0 the lead, and Rico Noel, who got the party started all the way back in the top of the first, swings and misses there. Count moves to 0-1. Noel started the game off with a single, and when Bernard doubled him in, really before Downs could even bat an eye, and the Skeeters had a total of 3 runs in that first inning. Albert Cordero, the only long ball that night, was a 2-run shot back in that first inning, and Noel squares the bunt, takes it 1-1.
Now, it's very interesting, Ryan. By no means is Wally Backman conceding this game. He is forced to go to his bullpen in just the 4th inning, but it does create some intrigue moving forward if we have a bit of a long series, and I'll follow that up off of this pitch.
Feldman's 1-1 is inside, gets away from the catcher Cabrera. Noel not going to steal first, and as I think I told you last night, I wouldn't expect the Skeeters to steal first, just a hunch, but I'm not sure about the Ducks either, although from what I understand, the Ducks have not done it yet this year either, so wouldn't expect that to happen.
So on the flip side of Darren Downs having a very short outing tonight, it means that he could be available to go possibly on short rest in game number 4, or obviously all hands on deck if there's a 5th and decisive game. So it does allow Wally Backman the option of going back to Downs at some point in this series.
2-1 pitch, drops in there for a strike, 2-2. I think that's a great point, Mike, because you got to imagine that has something to do with the fact that Downs only went 3 innings because his pitch count wouldn't have allowed him to go a little bit longer. You're already down 6-0. So taking Downs out of the game and going to your bullpen early could be a sign that they're hoping maybe use Downs it later in this series. But Noel has a count even at 2-2, 1 away, and he hits that a ton to center field, but right at the center fielder Fuentes, who comes on in a few steps. Squared up, did Noel, but it kind of got stuck in that thick, humid air here tonight on Long Island. It sounded like it was going to go a lot farther off the bat. 2 away here now in the 4th.
And just to finish the point on Darren Downs, it doesn't necessarily mean that if there's a game 5 that he would go on 3 days rest, Ryan, but it also could mean that he might come out of the bullpen on, a Saturday if there's a game 4, because that might be his throw day, so to speak. So Wally Backman could, get him to just pitch an inning or 2 in relief. You never know. That's why, everybody's here for the postseason.
That one misses outside of Bernard. Count at 0-1. Bernard has doubled and reached on an error, and it was that error back in the 2nd inning that allowed 2 runs to score. Skeeters put up 5 runs in the first 2 innings. They lead 6-0 here as we're in the 4th, and that breaking ball in for a strike, 1-2. 1-1 rather to Bernard. Went one of those late ads again, joined the team in July, and it's tough to imagine where they'd be without him. He has really carried the team. That one hit way into the Long Island night, about 1.5 miles in the air. LJ Mazzilli coming on in and makes the play for the 2nd out, or the 3rd out of the inning rather, as the Skeeters go down in order here in the 4th inning. First time all night that they've gone down 1-2-3. First time tonight they haven't scored a run. But they hang on to a 6-0 lead. We move on to the bottom of the 4th inning here on Long Island. It is all Skeeters so far tonight, 6-0 lead in game number 2, and we'll be back here at Bethpage Ballpark in just a moment. All right, you're looking live at Bethpage Ballpark on Long Island. Skeeters lead 6-0. We're headed to the bottom of the 4th inning. Carlos Pimentel has struck out 6 batters through 3 scoreless innings, and it'll be Davinson Ramiro to lead it off. The Skeeters have already gotten into the Ducks bullpen, and it doesn't look like Ducks are getting into the Skeeters bullpen anytime soon. I had someone ask, is LJ Mazzilli the son of Lee Mazzilli? He certainly is. He's actually Lee Jr. That's where the LJ comes into play. That one's popped up. Left side, who wants it? It looks like it's right at Jason Martin, and he literally had to take about 2 steps to his left. And that is out number 1 as they've gotten Ramiro on the first pitch. I am understanding that we are live at Constellation Field, Mike, so want to give a quick shout out to the folks at home. I know our video feed's a little blurry. I apologize for that. When we come home, I promise you that the video feed will look better. But hey, you're getting the smooth, silky voice of Mike Moore, and it's not even a Bees or a Bridgeport Bluefish game, so I think we're pretty lucky for that. And
thank you for having me, Skeeters fans. Let's go Sugarland.
It's a great night to be a Skeeters fan. 6-0 the score. All Skeeters so far tonight, and David Washington up, and he takes a strike 0-1. Washington, who had a pair of home runs last night, went down looking in his first at-bat. And the 0-1 pitch makes it an 0-2 count, so we talked about, the 2 David Washingtons. You can get 2 home runs last night, and Pimentel's got him down 0-2 here, and now you can really just play around with him, go up, down, maybe waste a few pitches, Mike, and keep that power bat silenced. A little Louis T on there from Pimentel. The 0-2 pitch, check swing, didn't go. You see that? He went back toward second base there. A little shimmy from Pimentel.
Man, you talk about a loyal fan base. I mean, we, with the New Britain Bees this year, made 2 trips to Constellation Field, and the fans are great. They interact with you. You're right on top of them in the broadcast booth.
Sure.
And it's so much fun. They're hanging out on the rocking chairs in front of the booth. It's great.
0-2 pitch, and that's fouled back right over our heads here behind home plate. 1-2, yeah.
They love their Skeeters ever since they came to the Atlantic League. I mean, they've been, the one of the top teams in terms of attendance all year long and all franchise long, and it's a lot of fun. I really look forward to when we make the trip to Constellation Field. The fan base is tremendous. It really is.
Yeah, and I've got a chance now to see a few different ballparks, and nothing against Bethpage Ballpark or People's Bank Park. They're both beautiful facilities. The 1-2 pitch, fastball outside, just missed, but it does certainly give me an appreciation for how nice of a ballpark we have at home. I mean, part of that being the ballpark is one of the newer ones in the league. People's Bank and Bethpage. Bethpage been around since, I believe, 2000, right? This is the 20-year anniversary,
yes,
so it makes you very appreciative of your home confines. We'll be heading there Friday night for Game 3, and the way it's looking tonight, there will at least be a Game 4. And that one in the dirt, scooped up by Albert Cordero. So after getting him down 0-2, the count moves full.
Is Constellation Field going to be rocking on Friday night, especially if the Skeeters
certainly
come away
think
with
so.
a win tonight?
Hey,
Oh,
Mike,
man.
think about this. So this is the 4th trip, rather, to the Atlantic League Championship Series. This will be the first time the Skeeters have a chance to win it at home. They've won 2 championships right here on this field at Bethpage. So a chance to win the 2nd straight title at Constellation Field. 3-2 pitch, and just misses a bit outside to Washington as he will take his base. And you know what? I'm not too mad about that after the performance he put on last night. And you're up 6-0, nobody on, 1 down. I don't see any reason to go and try to test him there and let the Ducks get a rally going here. So 1 away, that'll bring up the switch hitting catcher, Ramon Cabrera.
Boy, will that be a party if the Skeeters win at home. I mean, I saw the celebration that the team had following last year's championship when you went back to the Lone Star State after the Skeeters won the championship here on Long Island, and that was a party in itself at the Plaza area, near I think it's called Sugarland Square.
Yeah, it's right
where
Town
Square.
Right where you
the
guys
team
stay.
sits, yeah.
Yep.
Man,
Swung on a miss by Cabrera. 0-1 the count. Yeah, Pete Gavilia, who's managed at the independent ball level for quite a while, Laredo Lamers, the Grand Prairie Airhogs, and the American Association, and now here. He said he's never had like a parade after winning a championship, and so that was pretty cool last year to get to experience that in his first season. And that one's in for a strike quickly, 0-2, and hey, he's building up quite a resume. He was the Atlantic League Manager of the Year, wins the title in his first season, brings the Skeeters back here. And hey, out in front now, 6-0. Still a lot of baseball to be played here tonight, but it's looking very, very promising for the Skeeters. Washington, the runner on first, 1 down here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Skeeters lead 6-0, and Pimentel going to look back. Washington there at first. Another thing to note too, Hochschild, it seemed like, an outing that he could have got away from him really quickly. He went 7 innings last night, so the Skeeters only had to use 2 relievers out of the bullpen. And the 0-2 pitch popped up. That one's going to get out of play.
Well, the off day will help tomorrow, but I'm sure Pete Incaviglia has that in his mind too. I'm sure that he discussed with his coach staff and maybe even Carlos Pimentel and his batter mate Alba Cordero what the plan was in terms of possibly, how many innings he could throw and how many pitches he'll have to be able to, throw as well. And it's a pretty well-rested bullpen based on the late innings that you got out of Mike Housechild last night despite the loss. So, and tomorrow's off day also helps.
0-2 pitch, Cabrera lays off the fastball upstairs. 1-2 now, the count to the catcher.
And we were talking about it last evening in terms of it not necessarily being a must-win for Sugar Land. You don't want to fall down 0-2 in a best-of-5 series, but as close to a must-have win as you need for the Skeeters tonight, and they're off to a good start.
1-2, the count to Cabrera. That one darts inside and forces Cabrera to dance out of the way of that one. Count even at 2-2.
And it's such a tough venue here at Bethpage Ballpark, very much like Constellation Field for a visitor to come in and walk away with a victory. But Sugar Land just has always seemed like such a confident organization, especially during this championship run over the last 3 or 4 years coming here. It's like, okay, we can win.
Oh, yeah. Winning 2 championships here and celebrating on this field twice will certainly breed some confidence. Washington, the runner on first. 0-2 pitch, chopped foul as Cabrera continues to battle here against Skeeter starter Carlos Pimentel. And it's going to be pitch number 8 upcoming here. Pimentel was pitch number 73 of the night for him, so the pitch count climbing just a bit. The Ducks threatened in the second inning. That was their best threat of the night. They had runners in the corners with 1 down, but Pimentel was able to get out of that inning. The Skeeters hold on to that 6-0 advantage here as we're in the top or bottom of the 4th, rather. That one's popped up right at Jason Martinson once again, and Martinson gloves it with ease. So 2 outs, 2 pop outs to Jason Martinson at short here in the bottom of the 4th. I mean, there's just not a lot of hard contact being made by the Ducks tonight. As we'll reference it, we'll kind of beat that drum again. You've got Pimentel going up against a lot of former teammates, including his former catcher right there. And it certainly looks like he had a game plan and he's executed to perfection so far tonight.
And like you said, a lot of the outs that have been recorded have been weak outs by way of the pop-up or the strikeout. And a couple of hard hit balls in the 3rd inning against Pimentel, but, it's really been all Carlos so far tonight.
And with 2 away, that'll bring up the shortstop, Vladimir Frias. Washington, the runner on first. First pitch to Frias in the dirt, and Pimentel gets him to chase 0-1. So you look back here, and Cabrera had the line drive single back in the second. That was really the last hard hit ball that we've seen. I mean, Lombardozzi with the single, that was a bunt single he had last inning. So it's been a full turn to the order, and he's really been able to silence these Long Island bats. Long set from Pimentel. Not a huge lead for Washington. The 0-1 pitch, that's driven well to right field, but right at Zach Borenstein. Takes a few steps back. Borenstein has it with ease for out number 3. Make it 4 scoreless innings tonight for Carlos Pimentel. It has been an all-out effort tonight against the Long Island Ducks. The Skeeters lead 6-0 in game number 2 of the Atlantic League Championship Series. We're moving on to the 5th inning. We're coming back live here in just a moment.
Coming up first, we have
Welcome back. It is a great night to be a Skeeters fan. It's always a great night to be a Skeeters fan, especially when you get to Game 2 of the Atlantic League Championship Series and your Skeeters enter the 5th inning with a 6-0 lead. It'll be Anthony Jansanti, Dennis Phipps, and Albert Cordero coming up for the Skeeters here. 6-0 lead, and Mike, this to me is so reminiscent of game number 3 of the last series. The Skeeters went to York first game. They win 9-1. Offense was obviously firing all cylinders, but Troy Scribner struck out 10 batters over 7 innings. And that's what you're seeing tonight. Obviously, the offenses came to play. Albert Cordero, 2-run home run. But Pimentel, 5 scoreless innings. It's not like he's just slouched off that big lead his offense is giving him. First pitch to Captain Sugarland is low and inside, 1-0.
Well, you touched upon it earlier, especially when the Skeeters put up 3 runs in the top half of the first inning. But you take away the bottom of the first inning from yesterday when the Ducks scored 5 runs, and it's really been all Sugarland offensively the rest of the way.
Yeah, absolutely. That one drops in for a strike. 1-1 the count, rather. I believe it says 2-0 on the scoreboard. Not sure. 1-1. Yeah, I mean, take that 5-run lead away, and the Skeeters 11-2. They've outscored them since that bottom of the first last night. That pitch to Jansanti, chop foul left side, and they're already into the bullpen. Are the Ducks, as Thompson out there for another inning of work, or Feldman rather out there for another inning of work. Brandon Feldman. I don't believe we saw Feldman during the regular season. Going through with the notes on the big right-hander. He had 2 appearances against the Skeeters. This is his first year with the Ducks, first in the Atlantic League. He spent most of the 2019 season with the River City Rascals of the Frontier League. Posted good numbers, 7-1, a 197 earned run average with the River City Rascals. 2-1 pitch, and Sandy rips that at Frias. He makes a diving stop, goes to his backside. High throw is going to be in time, as it's tough to overthrow David Washington there at first base. So Jansanti hits the ball well, but a nice play from Frias there is able to get Jansanti front number 1.
It's one of those short line drives. There was a little bit of indecisiveness on the part of Frias. Do I come in and make the shoestring catch, or do I play it on the hop? And he decided to play that ball on the hop. It was a nice snag on the backhand, and you know, Jansanti looked a little frustrated, as if, man, that should have been a base hit on my part, but it's a good play by the Ducks shortstop.
And first pitch to Dennis Phipps, who is 0 for 2 tonight. Homered last night to straightaway left field. And had a couple of monster home runs out in York over the arch nemesis out there. So much power from Phipps. He had 9 home runs last year, had 21 in the regular season, and now 3 in the postseason.
That was a bomb he hit last night.
0-1 pitch, missed outside. 1-1. Was a little surprised. TrackMan had it at 365, so not one of the most prodigious blasts we've seen in a Dennis Phipps. Obviously, that's still an absolute mash, but his home run back in game number 4 with 397 feet. 1-1 pitch, breaking ball from Feldman, and that one misses inside. Count moves 2-1.
So Brendan Feldman made 1 start for the Ducks the last weekend of the season here at Bethpage Ballpark against the High Point Rockers. It was on September 22nd, and no decision.
This 2-1 pitch to Phipps misses low and away. Count moves to 3-1.
6 runs on 8 hits in just 4 innings, 5 earned runs, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. So he was kind of showcasing for Wally Backman, getting ready for the postseason with the Ducks having already clinched both halves.
3-1 pitch. Phipps swings over the top of a breaking ball there. Now count moves to 3-2. The Ducks have really gone to that River City Rascals well. They have also the closer for that we saw last night picking up the save, Cody Mincy pitch over there. And now Feldman as well. And like I said, you heard the numbers. He put up good numbers in the Frontier League. 3-2 pitch. Phipps reaches for that one, chops it foul. The Skeeters have not really gone to the Frontier League well all too often. They did get Blair Beck from the Windy City Thunderbolts this year, and obviously being in the lineup tonight, still producing. Javier Betancourt was with the Skeeters last year, began the year with the Washington Wild Things, so I don't know if you can really consider that going back to the well. That's going back to a familiar face, more or less, but I know a lot, especially the Somerset Patriots. They get a lot of guys from the Frontier League. 3-2 pitch, and Phipps is able to foul that one away right back to the screen.
And you know, this is a perfect example of why you have to give kudos to the front office of both the Sugarland Skeeters and Long Island Ducks. I believe, unofficially, both of these organizations had the most player contracts purchased by affiliated ball clubs, and here they are facing off once again in the championship series. A lot of other teams weren't able to recover from those contracts. That's the goal of, obviously, the Atlantic League teams, to have contracts purchased by affiliated clubs or teams, you know, overseas and what have you. But it's tough to sometimes replace those players that had such productive numbers. And here we have Long Island. I think they had 16 players or so having their contracts purchased this year, and you can attest to the number that Sugar Land has had.
Skeeters had exactly 16 as well. And that one ripped into center field. Coming on in is Fuentes, and the Speedster is able to make the play for out number 2. Yeah, 13 contracts were purchased by major league teams, and I mean, some of the names you look back on, the last one, especially Nick Rumbelow. I don't know if you got to see Rumbelow face the Bees this year, but I mean, he was as lights out of a reliever as you could possibly imagine, and he was the last one to go, and he got picked up by the New York Mets. But you go down the lines of names that this guys that the Skeeters had this year. I think Cody Ashe, former Philly, Ryan Court, who actually went on and played with the Mariners this year after getting picked up by the Skeeters. Courtney Hawkins, who I know the Ducks remember because there was a weekend in May where Hawkins came in, blasted 2 home runs in a weekend and hit 400, and then was picked up by the Giants about 3 days later. Albert Cordero now flips it around to the left side and swings at the first pitch and misses 0-1.
But that's the sign of a good front office because of the fact that, you know, like you said, obviously the players that are having their contracts purchased are producing tremendously.
Absolutely.
Can you make up for them? Some teams don't.
Pete Incavilla's Rolodex is very impressive. He's able to get guys in and out of here like a turnstile.
And I think a lot of that has to do with both Pete Incavilla and Raleigh Backman having those big league ties because, you know, former big leaguers, you want to come play for them, and you have a lot of connections, obviously. They were both teammates at one point, I think, with the Philadelphia Phillies in the early 90s.
Yeah, they go back. They're good, definitely good buddies. 0-2 the count, but also now squaring off as enemies here in the Atlantic League Championship Series. Skeeters lead 6-0 here in the top of the 5th inning, and that one is swung on a miss by Cordero. So Feldman comes on in and sets the Skeeters down in order. That's the second inning. The Skeeters have been set down in order here on Long Island, but they still hold on to a 6-0 lead as we move to the bottom of the 5th. It has been all Skeeters tonight, looking to even up this series at 1-1 before we head back home to Sugar Land. Back here live at Bethpage Ballpark in just a moment. Welcome back to Bethpage Ballpark for game number 2 of the Atlantic League Championship Series. It has been all Skeeters tonight, folks. 6-0 the score as Carlos Pimentel looking to fire a 5th straight scoreless inning to win this ballgame. He'll get Daniel Fields on the top of the order, Ray Fuentes, and Steve Lombardozzi. Pimentel has retired 7 straight batters and has struck out 6 tonight through his 4 scoreless innings, and that one is in for a strike to Fields, 0-1. Fields, one of those 6 strikeouts, was down swinging in the first inning. That one's in the dirt, stopped by Cordero. Count moves to 1-1.
Second time through the order, Ryan. 7 first pitch strikes, so 18 batters faced and 12 first pitch strikes for Pimentel. That's all you could ask for.
And when, we talked about it earlier, but it's worth repeating. When you go up 6-0, you're going to probably see those first pitch strikes rise very quickly. 1-1 to Fields, and he just check swings on that and fouls it toward the Skeeters dugout there. So 1-2 now the count to Fields. This is definitely one of those guys where Pimentel's got some good familiarity with him.
Yeah, we're midway through the game here, and if you look at the numbers, I mean, nothing but, no pun intended here, goose eggs for the Ducks, and, you know, only 3 hits, not a lot of base runners.
Skeeters bullpen could get another well-resting before the day off tomorrow. The way Pimentel's gone so far tonight, that one misses in to Fields. 2-2 the count.
And so far, Pimentel has been that stopper that Pete Incaviglia has looked for in this ball game.
2-2 pitch to Fields. Swung on a miss. He's down on strikes. Swinging for the second time tonight. Strikeout number 7 of the ball game for Carlos Pimentel, and the first out here in the bottom of the 5th. The Skeeters leading 6-0. Carlos Pimentel putting up goose eggs. If this is the last ball game you play on Long Island this year, you're leaving with a pretty good taste in your mouth the way the Skeeters have played so far tonight.
4th time in 5 innings that he has erased the leadoff batter, and that fastball right there has shown me that the velocity is starting to increase as this ball game moves later and later for Pimentel. That was a wicked heater. As he blew it right by Fields, he had no chance.
So Fuentes up. He's overdue tonight. First pitch he takes for a strike, 0-1. The Ducks bats came out early and ferociously last night. They have not really returned since that 5-run first inning in game number 1 last night. It's been all Skeeters. They've scored 6 runs. That one misses inside, taken 1-1. Infield in there for Betancourt at third. He's on the edge of the grass as Martinson and Jansanti playing back. Fuentes does have pretty good speed. The 1-1 pitch to him. Takes a fastball up and away. Called a ball. 2-1 now.
You know, Ryan, it's interesting. Now, here you have Sugarland looking for their 3rd championship in 4 years. But I feel like the pressure is all on Long Island. They had the most wins in franchise history. Okay, they're the odds-on favorite to get to the championship series, which they have. They've steamrolled through the regular season and postseason.
That one foul back. Count evens at 2-2.
And, you know, they have 90 wins now, including the playoffs, 86 in the regular season and 4 here in the postseason. And, you know, it just seems like the pressure is on them because, yes, they've made it to the championship series 4 years in a row now, first time in league history that's happened, but they've lost the last 3.
Yeah, so
I feel like the pressure is on them.
Little Buffalo Bills, the other team from New York who went to the Super Bowl, was it 4 times in a row?
Yes. That
one grounded to Jason Martinson. Hit pretty well, but Martinson stays down on it nicely. His throw is going to get the speedy Fuentes by a step. And 2 down here in the bottom of the 5th inning. And you saw Pimentel, he kind of motioned his glove at Cordero, who was going to cover the bag. Those two are in sync tonight. And you can tell the way that they're able to attack hitters. They have a game plan. They're executing it to perfection.
And after we mentioned last night during the postgame show the fact that no matter what happened here, because they rotate venues every year in terms of the 2 games and then 3 games in the Atlantic League Championship, not depending on record, the Skeeters have home field advantage no matter what. So even if they fell down 0-2, a tall task to come and win the next 3. But, you know, now they're looking good to gain a split.
First pitch swinging, Lombardozzi grounds it to Blair Beck. He gets to the back room side. Carlos Pimentel has retired 9 straight. He has fired 5 straight scoreless innings. We head to the 6th inning in game number 2 here in the Atlantic League Championship Series, and the Skeeters hang on to a 6-0 lead. A heck of a turnaround performance from the defending champions. We'll head to the 6th inning here on Long Island. Back in just a moment. Jason Martinson to lead it off for the Skeeters here, top of the 6th inning. And 6 runs is the tally so far tonight for the Skeeters, and 6-0 is the lead. As we are in game number 2 of the Atlantic League Championship Series, and this game could not have gotten much better for the Skeeters after taking a 7-5 loss in game 1. They've gotten a massive performance on the mound from Carlos Pimentel, and squaring a bunt is Martinson. He fouls it back. 6-0 lead. Pimentel 5 scoreless, 7 strikeouts. He's 3 away from matching his season high. And the bats have been alive. They've gotten 6 hits so far tonight, and really it's been another night where the speed has kind of wreaked havoc for the Ducks. 0-1, the count to the Skeeter shortstop Martinson, who walked in his last at-bat and hits at a mile-high straightaway center field. A few steps to his left is Fuentes. He has that for the first out of the inning.
Give credit to Brendan Feldman since he's come on in relief of Darren Downs. He's now retired all 7 batters he's faced thus far.
Yeah, and he cut right through he had Rico Noel, or rather Javier Betancourt, so he had Javier Betancourt at the top of the order, and he cut right through the middle of that Skeeters lineup that's done so well tonight. And this man, Zach Borenstein, has been a key cog in the ignition. 2 for 2, an RBI single in his last at-bat in the 3rd inning. First Mr. Feldman, he lines that in left field. That one is going to end that streak as it is off the glove of the left fielder Mazzilli, and Borenstein wants 2, and he's going to get 2. You know what, that looked like it was going to be in the gap off the bat, and Mazzilli almost made a play on it. Clanked off his glove. It was kind of like a shoestring grab. So 3 hits tonight for Zach Borenstein, 3 for 3, and a double to his line tonight here. And the Skeeters have a runner in a scoring position with 1 down here in the 6th.
And, you know, there was a lot of real estate that L.J. Mazzilli had to try to gain ground on. And I think there was a little bit of indecisiveness. Do I slide or, as you said, try to make the shoestring catch? And, you know, he was unable to make that snap decision as the ball went off of his glove. But credit the hustle of Borenstein. As you said, now 3 for 3 as he picks up the 2-base hit.
Borenstein, who's a power threat, but hey, putting the ball in play, getting a couple singles. He's just been able to square the ball up all night. And that one gets away. It looks like Feldman and Cabrera were crossed up there, and that's an easy passed ball or wild pitch. We'll see how it's scored. And Borenstein moves on to 3rd base. You know you got crossed up when your catcher kind of looks at you and puts his hands up before he even goes back to retrieve it. As I'm guessing Cabrera thought he was getting a breaking ball there because that fastball up was certainly catchable.
So Borenstein has his 2nd double of the postseason. The infield comes back in for Long Island. 2 hits against the left-handing starter and Darren Downs, and now against the righty in Feldman, a 2-base hit. So a good night offensively for Zach.
RBI spot for Blair Beck. Count 1-0. It's his first start of the postseason. Infield in for the Ducks, and Beck swings over the top of that one. Count moves to 1-1. So the Skeeters with a 6-0 lead, and now with the chance to add a little cherry on top here in the 6th inning. Zach Borenstein on 3rd with just 1 down. Oh, that one down as a pass ball. Yeah, that certainly seemed like it was going that way. And Beck out in front of the breaking ball there. 1-2. Yeah, Feldman came in and really kind of put the clamp down. Had retired 7 straight up to that Borenstein double. But once again, I mean, we've seen a throwing error from Lombardozzi, let 2 runs across. A pass ball here now puts a runner on 3rd with less than 2 outs. Cannot give extra opportunities to the Skeeters lineup. One-two pitch, good take there on a breaking ball, low and away by Beck, or by Feldman rather, taken by Beck. Count evens up at 2-2.
You know, Ryan, just talking about this situation here, it seems like an insurmountable lead right now. It's 6-0, but if the Skeeters add 1 more to make it 7-0, boy, they are really starting to take control.
1-2 pitch, Beck swings and misses as Feldman was going with breaking ball there, and he gets Beck to swing and miss that one. Out number 2 on the punch out. So a chance once again for the Skeeters to try to notch a 2-out run. 5 of their 6 runs tonight have come with 2 outs, so this is, you know, not a spot you want to be comfortable in, but they have been tonight. And Javier Betancourt 1 for 2 with a single.
And Ryan, that shows how successful they've been tonight. In the regular season, Skeeters hitting 197 with men in scoring position and 2 out, 150 so far in the postseason. But the big hit has come this evening.
Betancourt grounds that left side through for a base hit. Another 2-out knock and another 2-out RBI for the Skeeters. Javier Betancourt, his second hit of the game, is an RBI single. Zach Bornstein in to score. The Skeeters have now pushed the lead to 7-0 here in the 6th.
Well, there it is again. Javier Betancourt, known for his glove, gets the start tonight here, and at the bottom of the lineup, 2 singles, an RBI, a stolen base, and a run scored. What more could you ask for? His second run batted in the postseason, and that's part of a championship caliber ball club. Getting the big hits from every batter in this lineup.
Javier ended the season on quite an offensive tear, Mike. He actually, up until last night, had hit 13 straight games going from the regular season to the postseason. Took an 0 for last night, comes right back, 2 hits tonight, an RBI single, and 7 runs. You think that one insurance run might not make a difference. In the postseason, you want to see that. You want to see it up 20-0. I mean, you don't want to have anything left up to chance here, as Rico Noel is ahead 1-0. And another thing, I mean, you have to notice here too is that Joey Orio last night. Joey Orio is an all-star. He was really one of the best relievers in the league. You can make a case to say that he indeed was the best reliever in this league. Got him for 2 runs tonight. Feldman was cruising through 2 innings, and then you're able to touch him up here. So each pitcher they face this series, they've been able to leave a little dent in them. That one's popped up on the infield, left side. In comes Ramiro a few steps, and Ramiro has it there in the infield for out number 3. So another run for the Skeeters, though. An RBI single from Javier Betancourt drives in Zach Bornstein, and the Skeeters are now taking a 7-0 lead in game number 2 of the Atlantic League Championship Series. Back here live on Long Island in just a moment for the bottom of the 6th inning. Do not turn that dial. Seven nothing the score here. Skeeters lead as we move to the bottom of the 6th inning rather. It'll be Lou Ford to lead it off for Long Island. And last night these fans had plenty to cheer about. You kind of feel like the energy got sucked right out of the building here early. Skeeters have scored 7 unanswered runs tonight for a 7-0 lead, and Carlos Pimentel has brought the good stuff here tonight. He is behind 1-0 to Ford. 7 strikeouts for Pimentel. That's just 3 off his season high against his former teammates out here in New York. That one swung on a miss by Ford. Ford has gone down twice. He did reach base, though, the first time he went down on a wild pitch, but Carlos Pimentel has looked as sharp as you could possibly imagine.
You never have to worry about, as a broadcaster, who is batting for Long Island when Lou Ford steps in. The whole stadium just does that Lou chant. I love it.
Yeah.
Lou.
I mean, he is an institution here in Long Island, but kept quiet tonight, but he is going to get a single there, reaches with a leadoff knock, and you can hear the fans right there going right back to the Lou chant.
Lou.
And, I mean, he had the RBI singles tonight, but they've been able to manage his production mostly. Like last night, it really was David Washington and Ramiro. You take away their production, I mean, five combined RBIs there, 3 home runs out of the 2 of them, and they've held those guys pretty quiet tonight as well. Washington with a walk is the only time that either of those guys have reached tonight.
It's only the second time in 6 innings that the leadoff batter has gotten on for Long Island against Pimentel as well. Only 4 hits so far and 1 walk.
That one could be 2. Probably not going to be hit too lightly, but a nice play on the run by Javier Betancourt, moving across his body there, and that retires L.J. Mazzilli for the 3rd time tonight. 1 away here in the 6th now.
You know, it's one of those situations there is slow grounded to the left side, cut off by Betancourt, and that's a veteran. Knowing that, yes, Lou Ford doesn't have a lot of speed at second base, but you look up at the scoreboard, Long Island has 12 offensive outs remaining. Get the sure out at first with a 7-run lead, and that's exactly what Betancourt did. That's a heads-up play.
And it was a tough play, too. Bazzilli is no slouch. He runs pretty well, and had to be quick with it there was Betancourt. And not to mention, Betancourt has started the first 5 games of the postseason at second base. Now moves to the hot corner tonight with Juan Silverio out of the lineup. So
that goes back to what we were saying at the top of the broadcast, how he is, a sure-handed infielder that can play any position, second base, third base, shortstop.
Betancourt, a good job defensively and offensively tonight. Drove in a run last inning, put the score up to 7-0 as now Ramiro takes a fastball inside, 1-0 count.
It's another situation, though, Ryan, where it doesn't get recognized, as we mentioned earlier in the box score, but maybe if it's a 1-0 game, Betancourt thinks about going to second base because that's a tying run.
Sure.
With a 7-run lead, just get the out.
Go for the sure out. He did right there. And a little Louis Tiant there from Pimentel. He forced Lou Ford to move back, and then the pitch wasn't too shabby either. Breaking ball low and away, and Ramiro hovers right over it. And I think Ramiro, he wants to know if he can get an appeal on that, because in this league, that sometimes may not get called as a check swing, but
yeah, I think he was either asking, did he go around, or did TrackMan say it was a strike? I'm not sure, but you're right. I mean, I think he went around either way, and if he did, it didn't seem like that the home plate umpire tonight in Frankie really needed help.
1-1 pitch to Ramiro. That one is inside and forces Ramiro to step away. 2-1. Lou Ford on second base. There's 1 away here. We are in the bottom of the 6th inning. Skeeters lead 7-0 in game number 2 of the Atlantic League Championship Series. Ramiro with the 3-run home run last night. 1 for 2 tonight. The 1 hit being a single. And the 2-1 pitch misses low and away. 3-1 the count. David Washington on deck. So for game number 3, probables are Troy Scribner for the Skeeters, who looked phenomenal in his only other start this postseason. He'll be matched up against Seth Simmons, who the Skeeters have seen a good amount this year between his time with the Rockers and then now the Ducks. Simmons had a great outing against his former teammates to help clinch the Liberty Division Series. 3-1 pitch to Ramiro and jams him. Going on is Jansanti in the shallow right field. Long run for Jansanti. He dives and is unable to make the play. So that's going to be a cue ball single there for Ramiro. Ford forced a hold there at third base. Jansanti with holding on. Ford at second base was swung over way toward the bag. So a long run right there, kind of just an unfortunate situation.
And we talk about all of the new rules implemented in the Atlantic League observed by Major League Baseball. One of them is that you are no longer allowed to put a shift on. And Ramiro, being a predominantly pull hitter, Jansanti, as you said, was also holding Lou Ford on close to the bag, but was shaded towards the second base bag as well, as close as you could possibly be without actually having the shift on. And that's why he had to make a valiant effort on the attempt to his left, to no avail. Good hustle by Jansanti, but at least, like you said, Ford did not score because he had to wait and see if Jansanti would make the play.
Yeah, Jansanti, he's going to give you a full-on effort no matter what, but that one's even too much for him. That one's grounded to the right side. They could get 2 here. They go to second for 1. The return throw to first in time. Blair back the 3-6-3 double play churn to end the inning. 6 scoreless innings from Carlos Pimentel tonight. The Skeeters lead 7-0, and a double play right there strands another runner on third base. We move to the 7th inning in game number 2 of the Atlantic League Championship Series. It is all Skeeters tonight, folks. They lead 7-0. We're back here on Long Island in just a moment. Wynn Bernard to lead it off for the Skeeters here in the top of the 7th inning. 7-0 lead for the Skeeters. Game number 2 of the Atlantic League Championship Series. A new pitcher has come on for the Ducks. That's the right-hander Miles Smith. Third pitcher out of the Ducks rotation tonight. That one sky to right field. Coming on in is Fields and moving toward the line. He has it one pitch, one away for Miles Smith. First season with the Ducks for Smith, first in the Atlantic League. Appeared in the American Association with the first-year Milwaukee Milkmen earlier in the season. Was 1-4 with a 2.20 ERA for the Milkmen, and this is his second appearance of the postseason. Picked up a save in the Freedom Division Champions, Liberty Division Championship Series. First pitch to Jansanti, misses outside, 1-0.
So Brendan Feldman, 3 innings in relief, 1 unearned run allowed on 2 hits and 2 strikeouts.
Smith appeared in just 6 games for the Ducks in the regular season. Went 1-1 with a 4.50 ERA. All appearances coming out of the bullpen. The offense has been attacking all night, but really, I mean, you could make an argument that the biggest storyline of the night is Carlos Pimentel. It didn't matter how many runs the Skeeters have scored so far. He's worked 6 scoreless innings, striking out 7 batters, and you know, you get a runner on third base there with 1 down. Runners in the corners again with just 1 down and a 3-6-3 double play to end the inning there in the bottom of the 6th.
And I just feel like he has looked so relaxed after getting those 3 runs in his back pocket after 1/2 inning of play.
That one is a called strike to Jansanti. Count moves to 3-1.
And then, of course, 2 in the second and 1 in the third. So, you know, Pimentel, after 2 innings pitched, had a 6-run lead. And it's been all Carlos Pimentel the rest of the way since.
3-1 to Jansanti. Fastball up and in, and Jansanti took a big rip at it. 3-2 now the count. I can't tell if anyone's moving up in the bullpen. The visitors' bullpen is behind the left field wall, but you got to imagine you send Pimentel out for at least 1 more inning. Pitch count for him right now is at 96, so it's getting up there, but Ducks have not been able to get anything figured out against him tonight. Full count pitch to Jansanti, and he fouls it away over the seats on the right side. Count remains full.
Anthony Jansanti is just one of those feel-good stories, Ryan. When I was with the Bridgeport Bluefish, he began his Atlantic League career there, a Connecticut native. He lives, you know, in New London during times of the offseason, and he was cut by the Bluefish, and he thought his career was over. And boy, was it resurrected in a major way in Sugarland. It's just a great story. I'm so happy for him.
This team does not get here this year or last year without the efforts of Anthony Jansanti. He's down swinging there for out number 2. So 2 away here in the top of the 7th. I mean, last year, Mike, Anthony's your team MVP for the Skeeters. Really could have made a case that he should have made the All-Star game. That's an argument for a later day, but he was named a postseason All-Star, and I mean,
I voted for him for Player of the Year as well.
Yeah, I mean, he got a few votes. I'll give you a little wink on that one. Although I know Jordan Nevada's been here for the Ducks, had a fantastic year, and he ended up winning the award. But Jansanti last year, 17 home runs, 35 stolen bases. He's actually the only player, if you can believe it, in Skeeters history to hit at least 15 home runs and steal at least 30 bases in a single season. So, as I mentioned, there's no chance this team gets here this year or last year without him.
And he's so loved by the fans. I've heard you say, you know, throughout the course of this series, you call him, you know, the captain.
Yeah, he wears the captaincy patch. He's the first player in team history, and he's more than earned it.
That says it all right there. I mean, you know, just a tremendous career.
Can play any position, really, too. Now he's at second base tonight as Dennis Phipps is quickly behind 0-2. Miles Smith working quickly here so far in the 7th inning, but I mean, to be able to go from center field to second base, he played a little first base this inning. He can play anywhere in the outfield. I'm sure if you need him to, you can probably strap on the gear. Although I was told that Javier Betancourt is our emergency catcher this series, if we need the 3rd catcher. 0-2 from Smith to Phipps. Fastball misses up and away.
But the other part about Jansanti, too, is that he really is the consummate professional, because when you talk about a professional baseball player and what you expect from them both on and off the field, Anthony Jansanti is the poster child right there. He's a great person all around.
1-2 the count to Dennis Phipps. Swung and a miss. Phipps down on strikes once again tonight. But the Skeeters, they lead 7-0 still. We're on to stretch time here on Long Island. Game number 2 of the Atlantic League Championship Series. The Skeeters are just 9 outs away from heading back home with an even series at 1-1. We'll be back here live at Bethpage Ballpark in just a moment.
High in the sky. Yeah, yeah. And now we're going to switch down low, touch your toe. And now we're going to switch to the left.
Carlos Pimentel back out for another inning of work. It has been all Skeeters tonight, folks. 7-0 lead as we move to the bottom of the 7th inning. Ramon Cabrera to lead it off against Pimentel, who's fired 6 scoreless, has struck out 7 against his former teammates last year with the Long Island Ducks. And I bet you the Ducks are wishing they had Pimentel back in the orange and black, but Skeeters blue is what he's wearing tonight, and he's looked amazing. That one line on the first pitch right at Rico Noel. 1 pitch and 1 down as Cabrera squared that one up, but right at the speeding Noel. So 1 away here in the bottom of the 7th. 7-0 lead. It's kind of been feast or famine for the Skeeters. It seems like this postseason they'll either lose a close game or they just absolutely obliterate over their play. And they had a 9-1 win, but then the next day they go back in York 5-4 last night. They go down 5-0, but they come back the next day. You're up 7-0. So you're getting a great effort from both sides of the ball tonight.
Well, let's hope the trend continues. As you mentioned, the Ducks, I should say the Skeeters lost game 1 of the Freedom Division Championship Series and come back with Pimentel in game 2, a tremendous performance. Now, the same could be happening here tonight. And we know how the Freedom Division Championship Series ended. Maybe the same goes in this Atlantic League Championship Series as well.
And credit to Pimentel, too. This was a spot that really was going to be occupied in the rotation by Dallas Beeler, but an injury forced him out of the playoff rotation. So Pimentel coming on in and doing a fantastic job, kind of a hybrid role this year for the Skeeters. He started out of the bullpen, was moved into the starting rotation, and like I said, I mean, there were times this year where he was your ace.
And you know they say you're only as good as your next day's starting pitcher. Well, boy, has Pimentel stepped it up tonight with the bright lights here in this championship series.
That one jams Frias, fouls it back. Count moves to 1-2. Frias 0 for 2 tonight. A lot of 0 for 2s throughout this Ducks lineup. Just 5 hits for them so far tonight.
But you have to feel good if you're Sugarland, especially if you record the next 8 offensive outs, defensive outs, and you go home 1-1 with Scribner pitching game 3 after his performance in the championship series.
1-2. That one misses low, so count evens to two Frias rather.
I should say the division series.
Scribner's one of those guys. I mean, he works lightning quick, and when he gets into a rhythm, I mean, it's palpable. You feel it when you're watching him. That's what happened in game 3 there in York. I mean, he got into a rhythm, 7 innings, struck out 10 batters. So hoping for more of the same on Friday. But for now, we got 8 more outs to go as Frias takes that one. Count is full now to the Ducks shortstop.
And his brother Evan was the closer for the New Britain Bees last year under manager Wally Backman. At the time, he set a franchise record with 24 saves. Jim Fuller had 25 this year, eclipsing that mark in a single season. But, that's a pretty good family tree, and both Scribner brothers having success in the Atlantic League.
Former big leaguers, too, as well. That one line to center field, but right at Rico Noel once again as the Ducks have squared up back-to-back balls here in the 7th. But Rico Noel, it's going to take a ball farther than the gap to get out of his speed range there, and 2 away now in the 7th.
And that goes back to the scouting report for Pete Incaviglia, as the defensive alignment shows that Frias likes to pull the ball towards the gap in left center, and that's exactly where Noel was positioned, whereas in the first out to Cabrera, he was more towards right center field. So, with the speed that he has, if that ball drops, it's extra bases for Frias. But, scouting reports are important.
And we've seen it a few times. It happened right there, too. You saw Pimentel kind of motion to Cordero, the catcher tonight. They are both on the same page, and you feel it. There's just not a lot going on with this Ducks offense. It's a 7-0 lead for the Skeeters here. Bottom of the 7th, the 0-1 pitch to Daniel Fields. Misses just a bit outside, 1-1. So the Skeeters will head back to Constellation Field, a 6:30 local start. It'll be Troy Scribner going up against Seth Simmons, and hopefully with the 1-1 lead. A quick pitch there, and they caught Fields off guard. That was beautiful. That one's popped up left side. Should be playable for Betancourt, and ranging toward the wall there, Betancourt, who's been playing most of second base, did not have a good feel for where the wall was over there on the third base side. So that is strike number 2, 1-2 the count. Forgive Betancourt for that too, Mike. In game number 4 of the Freedom Division Series, he made one of the best plays ranging down toward the wall on a ball that was, I forget who was up to bat, but the bases loaded, 2 away in the 8th inning in a tie ball game, and Daniel Gibson on the mound. Ball was popped up, looked like it was going to be into the seats, and Javier Betancourt disappeared out of my view, and all I see is the umpire throw up his arm for out number 3, and I told Javier after the game, I was like, dude, that may have been the play of the game, because if you have to, the bases loaded 2 away in a tie ball game, and what ended up being a 5-4 game, who knows, you get a ball in the gap there, and that could have been the difference maker if you don't catch that ball. So
going back to, again, how, great of a player he is at any position on the infield.
That's why easy to forgive him for not coming down with that one in a 7-0 game and having to kind of play in couple different spots on the infield. 3-2, the count out of Fields. Carlos Pimentel has struck out 7 through 6 2/3 scoreless tonight, and is a pitch away from getting through 7 scoreless here in game number 2 of the Atlantic League Championship Series. 3-2 pitch, fastball misses up, so that is a walk for Fields here, and the Ducks get a 2-out base runner.
And we'll see if Pete Incaviglia is going to stick with Pimentel. That was his 109th pitch thrown on the night. Obviously, he's trying to get one more out from him, and then you'd have to think that he would go to the bullpen. And again, this goes back to the at-bat in which, Betancourt on that slow roller hit by L.J. Mazzilli in the 6th inning took the sure out at first. I think with a 7-run lead, Pete Incaviglia is saying, let's get one more out. If it was a closer game, he might have already gone to the bullpen.
See some bodies moving up down there. Can't tell if anyone is warming up. So the leadoff man, Ray Fuentes, takes a pitch outside, 1-0. Kind of the opposite school of thinking, Mike. You had Downs come out of the game early. Maybe use them late. Maybe for Pimentel, you're figuring, hey, fire off that one bullet, give us a Game 2 win, and maybe don't go to him again the rest of the series because he's going to be way up there on the pitch count. 1-0 pitch. That one's in for a strike. Count evens at 1-1. And taking a look at his season log, season high in pitches was 116 back on August 31st, so he's definitely going to be approaching that here. 1-1 to Fuentes. Fastball misses up. Count moves to 2-1.
And that's a great point, though, because, you're just getting as much as you can from him. And he might even be thinking the same way. He might have spoken in between innings to Pete Incaviglia and said, look, give me one more inning. I know I'm over 100 pitches, nearing a season high, but just let me get through this one more, and then you can hand it off to the bullpen because this might be it for me in 2019.
That one hit well to right field, but right at Zach Bornstein, and 3 well-struck balls, but Carlos Pimentel pumps his chest. He's through 7 scoreless innings tonight. What an outing if that is indeed it for Carlos Pimentel. He has struck out 7 through 7 scoreless. And speaking of 7, the Skeeters lead 7-0. We're heading to the 8th inning in game number 2 of the Atlantic League Championship Series here on Long Island. Skeeters 6 outs away from evening this series up at 1-1. We'll be back live at Bethpage Ballpark in just a moment. Welcome back to Bethpage Ballpark on Long Island. Skeeters lead 7-0. We move to the 8th inning here tonight. And it certainly looks like the Skeeters are well on their way to evening the series up at 1-1. And it looks like that might have been it for Carlos Pimentel tonight. And if so, that is a yeoman's effort there. 7 scoreless innings in line for the W by a pretty comfortable margin. And a new pitcher on the mound will be Ishmael Cabrera for the Ducks. That is now the 4th pitcher to toe the rubber for Long Island tonight. So getting deeper and deeper into that bullpen. And hopefully going back to Sugar Land, the Skeeters need just 6 more outs, as I mentioned, and we'll see if they go to the bullpen indeed. And it'll be Albert Cordero, who's homered already tonight, 1 for 3, will lead things off.
Miles Smith, a clean 7th inning in relief with a pair of strikeouts.
Doug's bullpen tonight has come in out of relief of Darren Downs and done pretty well to kind of stop the bleeding a little bit after Darren Downs allowed 6 runs in just 3 innings of work. But even Feldman, who looked sharp in the beginning and allowed an RBI single to Javier Betancourt, and Smith just wanting to work there. And now Cabrera, who did not face the Skeeters at all this year.
No, you're right. 4+ innings of just 1 unearned run by the Ducks bullpen so far.
1-1 count to Coco. That one's fouled away near the Skeeters dugout. Count moves to 1-2. All the way back in the first inning, Albert hit a 2-run home run from the right side off Darren Downs. That capped off a 3-run first. The Skeeters added 2 more in the second, 1 in the third, and then they added 1 more in the 6th on an RBI single from Javier Betancourt. 7-0 the lead, 7 runs on 8 hits and no errors for the defending champion Sugar Land Skeeters. No runs on 5 hits and an error for the Ducks. 1-2 pitch to Cordero, swung and a miss, and Cabrera gets Cordero on a strikeout route number 1 here in the 8th.
That's now 10 strikeouts overall for Long Island as a staff. And, you know, moving forward, we were talking about it last night following the Skeeters Game 1 loss. No such thing as a moral victory, but the bullpen for Wally Backman is impressing. And, you know, 10 strikeouts overall. Just little things I guess you have to take with you moving forward in what could be a very long series.
Martinson fouls the first pitch he sees back 0-1. So you saw the lineup shuffle a little bit tonight, and we saw the dividends of that lineup shuffle pay off immediately. Rico Noel opened the game. Rico Noel hadn't had an at-bat since the regular season. Singles, scores before fans even had a chance to file and sit down in their seats tonight. And Blair Beck has not recorded a hit tonight, but hey, Blair Beck started a very integral 3-6-3 double play a few innings back, helping keep the Ducks off the scoreboard. So we've seen those 2 guys inserted in the lineup, I mean, just completely cold. They had not appeared. They didn't come in to pinch run or anything. So far.
It's an embarrassment of riches for Pete Incaviglia. That's what you need here in the postseason. And, you know, next man up for Sugar Land.
0-2 to Martinson. That one is dropped by Cabrera. Count moves to 1-2.
We've been talking a lot about independent organizations outside of the Atlantic League in which pitchers have been acquired by the teams in the ALPB. Cabrera is 6'1", 185 pounds, 25 years old, from the Dominican Republic. He last pitched for the New Jersey Jackals of the Independent Can-Am League.
So the Ducks are getting some talent from all over the place. And I said Cabrera did not face the Skeeters in the regular season, so this is the first time these two Cabrera has faced off against the Skeeters. And Martinson takes outside 2-2. Martinson 1 for 2 tonight, or 0 for 2 rather, walked and came around to score earlier in this ball game, back in the 3rd inning. 7-0 lead for the Skeeters. We're in the top of the 8th. The 2-2 to Martinson. Check swing, and the home plate umpire is going to say he went around. So Martinson down on strikes, and now 2 away here in the 8th. Back-to-back strikeouts for Cabrera to open this one. And that'll bring up Zach Borenstein with 2 away. Borenstein 3 for 3 tonight. Oh, yeah, 3 for 3. He doubled in his last at-bat. Scored twice and has driven in a run. Had an RBI single back in that 3rd inning to drive in Jason Martinson. First pitch to Borenstein hit well, but right at the second baseman, Lombardozzi, a few steps to his left. Fires in plenty of time to David Washington, and that is a 1-2-3 inning for Ishmael Cabrera. But the Skeeters, they're just 6 outs away from heading back home with a 1-1 series tie. They lead 7-0. Game number 2 of the Atlantic League Championship Series. Ryan Posner and Mike Moore with you live on Long Island. We'll be back here in just a moment. Welcome back to the bottom of the 8th inning. Skeeters lead 7-0 over the Long Island Ducks. Game number 2 of the Atlantic League Championship Series, and that is going to be it tonight for Carlos Pimentel. What a night it was, though, as Josh Martin, the big righty from Alabama, going to come on and make his first appearance this series. But again, Carlos Pimentel in line for the win, and Mike, what an outing that was.
It was a tremendous performance by Pimentel. 7 scoreless innings, 5 hits allowed, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts in total, 113 pitches, 68 for strikes, 2 wild pitches, and 1 double play behind him.
And that one sky to left center field by Lombardozzi, and Rico Noel under it with ease for out number 1.
And the thing that impressed me about Pimentel, as we were mentioning, with the big lead getting ahead on the count to the batters. 28 total batters faced, Ryan, and 18 first pitch strikes, a very good number. But the 113 pitches, just what you need out of Carlos Pimentel, and the big pitch count over the century mark, but the bottom line is the most important number is the number of runs given up, and that's a 0 right now tonight for Carlos Pimentel. What a job.
Pimentel 117 was just a few pitches off his season high of 125 earlier this year, and 7 strikeouts were just 3 off his season high as well. So you need a big start coming off a loss in game 1. Carlos Pimentel, and it's easy to see that get overshadowed when your team gets you 7 runs of support, but the way he pitched tonight, he didn't need much. He got plenty, but he didn't need much. And with 1 away, that'll bring up Lou Ford, who's 1 for 3 tonight, has struck out twice and single in his last at-bat, and he's quickly down 0-2. And Josh Martin joined the Skeeters a little bit later this year, quickly kind of becoming one of their go-to guys, especially in this kind of setup middle relief role. And get you the numbers here on Martinson from the regular season. It's 3-0 with a 3.77 ERA, 25 regular season appearances. Swung and a miss. Ball gets away, but right in front of Albert Cordero. Lou Ford will not be able to strike out and reach on a wild pitch for the second time tonight as Cordero fires over to Beck in time for out number 2.
And Ryan, just going back to the point that you made in the second inning, you know, you were talking about the fact that Carlos Pimentel looked very relaxed after getting the 3-run lead, and then when it was 5-0 into the bottom of the second, you pointed out the fact that that might be more than enough for Pimentel the way he was looking early in this game, and really the 3 runs so far have been enough in terms of the support for Pimentel tonight. He was just outstanding. But that was a very important point that you made, the fact that, you know, he was stymieing these Ducks bats early on the first time through the order, and it's been this storyline all evening long.
Just 5 hits for the Ducks. We're through 7 2/3 now as Josh Martin has a 1-1 count here to LJ Mazzilli. Mazzilli 0 for 3 tonight. So you're likely going to see Martin go for an inning here. Then Pete Incaviglia usually keeps his relievers at 1 inning unless it's like an emergency situation. So hopefully get 1 inning out of Martin, and he has not had to labor too much here in this 1 inning as he's now had 1 and 2. Seeing a lot of deja vu here for the Skeeters from that first series. And Mike Housechild, the deja vu being that Housechild in both of his starts did not look bad. He just kind of was snake bitten by just a few bad pitches. And Pimentel coming in here tonight, great relief. And Martin drops in the curveball there. He thought he had strike 3. I thought he had strike 3, but
we're in New
ball
York.
2.
We're in New York, so you can use the Yogi Berra deja vu all over again.
This deja vu all over, exactly. Still a long series ahead, but the Skeeters, this is as impressive as a showing as you can have. And you want to talk about a deja vu moment, too. Talk about last year's game, number 2, as that one hits Mazzilli, it sounded like, or it gets away, as a matter of fact, and not hit Mazzilli. As
I don't know how it did.
I felt like I heard it on the crowd mic, but a full count now here to the left fielder for the Ducks. Mike, you look at game number 2 of the championship series last year. Skeeters won 10-0, and now you're up 7-0 here. So it's a lot of those same feels. Although the Skeeters did win game 1 last year, 5-4, and that was an extra inning win.
You know what that
13
sounds
innings.
like? Deja vu all over again.
Exactly. Full count here to Mazzilli. 2 away. Bottom of the 8th inning. Skeeters lead 7-0. The full count pitch. That one misses low and away as Martinson's breaking ball sweeps out of the zone. So a 2-out walk from Mazzilli will bring up Davinson Romero for the Ducks.
Well, the other part of this big lead for the Skeeters is it allows Pete Incaviglia, as you mentioned, to go to some of the secondary pitchers out of the bullpen and rest the, late inning guys that could bridge to the closer. And with the day off tomorrow, having not pitched yesterday, really gives them a tremendous opportunity to, have a nice lead late, possibly on Friday in the series.
And they're going to get a huge boost in the bullpen when they go back home. Dan Runzer's going to rejoin the team, and Dan Runzer had a save in this game last series, Game 2 of the Freedom Division Series. So that is a big arm that you're going to have and is going to be well rested. Has not pitched since Game number 2 of the Freedom Division Series. So that's a good point there, Mike. You're going to have a well-rested bullpen, including the day off tomorrow. Mazzilli on first, the 0-1 to Ramiro, and then out in front of that, breaking pitch, 0-2 now. Josh Martin, who began the year with AAA Lehigh Valley out here on the East Coast, the AAA affiliate for the Phillies. Joined the Skeeters in August. He's an imposing figure on the mound. 6'5", 230 pounds out of Enterprise, Alabama. Mazzilli not going anywhere with the Ducks trailing 7-0, and the 0-2 pitch, Ramiro is able to foul that one away down the first base side. Guys like Felipe Paulino, you're going to hopefully, you can't imagine, if you have to use him tonight, if the game gets that close, you will, but hoping you don't have to use him tonight. And he had a monster save to end the Freedom Division Series.
When you talk about the makeup of a ball club during the offseason, I believe, especially in the Atlantic League, starting pitching and late inning relief is what is going to make or break a team in terms of getting to the playoffs and possibly winning a championship. When you look at both of these rosters, starting pitching has been tremendous throughout the course of the regular season and into the postseason. And each of their bullpens have also really opened eyes. And, that's why I keep saying that I truly believe, again, that the two best teams in the league all season long are facing off here in the championship, which is the way it should be.
0-2 the counter. Ramiro, he grabbed a new piece of lumber, and the 0-2 pitch, that's chopped third base side. Nice job by Betancourt to go back and get the big hop, and he goes over to second base. Mazzilli went in there, tumbling around near the bag, but a 5-4 putout ends the 8th inning for the Ducks, and we head to the 9th inning. It has been all Skeeters all night long here on Long Island at Bethpage Ballpark. We head to the 9th inning. Skeeters lead 7-0. Back here, coming to you live, game number 2 of the Atlantic League Championship Series. Welcome back. It has been a great night for the Skeeters, folks. 7-0 lead. We move on to the 9th inning here in game number 2 of the Atlantic League Championship Series. It'll be Blair Beck, Javier Betancourt, and Rico Noel with Rob Rogers, the new man on the mound for the Ducks. So another pitcher out of the Ducks bullpen. They've had to use 5 pitchers tonight, 4 relievers. And Black Beck takes a fastball inside 1-0.
Ismael Cabrera retires all 3 batters he faces, a pair of strikeouts and a ground ball in a scoreless top half of the 8th inning.
Beck chops that one foul, 1-1 the count now. Beck had not been used whatsoever in the first 5 games of the postseason, getting the start at first base tonight, and over 3. See if he can tack on a late hit here, as the lineup change certainly paid dividends here tonight as the Skeeters went with Beck and Noel, shifted things around the order just a bit. But once again, I mean, and I feel like I'm beating it over the head with this, but it goes, you got to mention it, the lineup changes are null and void if you don't get the effort like that out of Carlos Pimentel. 7 scoreless in line for the win. Josh Martin just fired a scoreless 8th inning. 2-1-2 back. That one's crushed left field. Mazzilli on the run. Mazzilli is going to run it down in the left center field gap. That ball was hit right on the numbers by Blair Beck, but Mazzilli makes the play for out number 1.
And, you know, that's kind of the storyline for tonight. Even the outs recorded by Sugarland have been hard hit. They have just brought their A game tonight offensively, and, you know, Carlos Pimentel has done the rest.
This man included Javier Betancourt, 2 for 3. Has driven in a run that came in his last at-bat in the 6th. Scored a run back in the 2nd as well. Betancourt moving from 2nd to 3rd, and the first pitch from Rogers is taken by Betancourt low. Oh, taken for a strike, low and away, 0-1.
You know, you talk about Javier Betancourt coming on here, the number 9 man in the order, a good glove, and producing tonight with the 2 singles, an RBI, a stolen base, and a run scored. And, you know, I think about Javier Betancourt, and what comes to my mind, having worked with the New Britain Bees this year, going back to that final homestand in which New Britain was on life support in terms of their postseason hopes. A tie game in the 8th inning. The Skeeters had made a tremendous comeback, and there's 2 out with a runner at 3rd. You figure maybe you can retire Betancourt and then see what happens moving forward. He picks up a single to the right side, and that pretty much ended it for the Bees.
That one shot to Romero at 3rd, right toward the bag. His throw across the diamond is in time to get Betancourt for out number 2. That's a good. I'm interested to hear you bring that up too, Mike, because Betancourt and Beck really had some of the best finishes of the season of anybody in the Skeeters lineup, and that's why you're seeing Betancourt. He's played in every game of this postseason.
And that goes back to what we were saying. There's no easy out in the lineup. If you're the pitcher for the Bees late in that game, you're thinking, okay, well, we're facing the number 9 hitter, a you know, light hitting type of hitter, so to speak, but a veteran. And he gets the big hit, and, you know, again, it just kind of knocked out any playoff hopes for the Bees. It was just a clutch hit by a clutch player, showing that, you know, he's stepping it up in the regular season. It's carried over here in the postseason as well.
I got to say, Mike, I'm happy we're not seeing the Bees in the postseason, because I don't know what it was this year. The Bees had the Skeeters number probably more than any other team in the league, and it was kind of a serendipitous celebration we had out in New Britain Stadium. It came after a sweep at the hands of you guys in the first half, which was what clinched our playoff spot. And I think we touched on this earlier in the broadcast. That had a lot to do with, at that point of the year, you had a couple guys get picked up by major league teams, and you know, you can only do so, if you lose a certain amount of guys all at once, there's only so many guys you can bring in at one time.
Well, again, an excellent point, because the players that the Bees had lost due to their contracts being acquired by affiliated teams, the end result was, with all due respect to the players that were acquired by New Britain in return, they just didn't match the numbers that a Taylor Motter had, an Alexi Amarista, an Alejandro De Aza. Amarista and De Aza were like 1-2 in batting average at one point during the season. So, you know, it just shows how tough it is to replace those players. And that's kudos again to both Sugarland and Long Island, but especially the Sugarland Skeeters, because it's been basically the players that have come in to make up for the ones who had their contracts purchased have been just as good, if not better.
Absolutely, and this guy, one of those pickups late in the second half, Rico Noel, and he takes the 3-1 pitch there. That's a 2-out walk for Noel, as the Skeeters are going to get a 2-out base runner here in the 9th. It's a 7-0 game. Skeeters leading here at Bethpage Ballpark. They're 3 outs away from going home. The series tied 1-1, and Troy Scribner coming to the mound, and Chase DeYoung, well, he'll get the game 4 start, and Chase DeYoung, I mean, pitched the clinching win on last Saturday against York, and a guy who's pitching the big leagues this year. So that's one of the things I think the Skeeters have, probably more so than any other team in this league, is the starting pitching depth. And interestingly enough, the one guy in the staff who'd never pitched in the major leagues, Carlos Pimentel, carrying them tonight. That one chopped left side, going to be a tough play for Frias, all the way in the hole. Goes the short way to second base, and Noel is out by a step there on the 6-4 putout. It was going to be a tough play if he wanted to go across the diamond there to first. But either way, the Skeeters are heading into the bottom of the 9th inning. They're 3 outs away from winning Game 2 of the Atlantic League Championship Series out here at Bethpage Ballpark. see who comes out of the Skeeters bullpen for the final 3 outs of this one. Ryan Posner, Mike Moore, back with you for hopefully just one more half inning. 7-0 Skeeters lead over the Ducks. Well, if you already didn't feel good about a Skeeters 7-0 lead, you're feeling pretty good when you see this man come out of the bullpen. That is Matt West coming on with 3 outs needed to send the Skeeters back home to Constellation Field with a 1-1 series tie. And it'll be David Washington lead off. West's first pitch to him outside for a ball, 1-0. The Skeeters scored 6 runs to the first innings tonight to really set the tempo. They lead 7-0 now on the back of a masterful performance from Carlos Pimentel. And now Matt West looking to shut the door here against the Ducks. That one in for a strike. West is back to our slider there, 1-1 to count.
Josh Martin, a scoreless inning in relief, 1 walk and 1 strikeout in 4 batters faced. And now it's Matt West looking to end this one for Sugarland and send them home all tied at a victory apiece.
1-1 to Washington. That fastball catches the zone, 1-2 the count. West had the win in that Game 4 clinching victory back in New York, and man, Mike, I'm sure you know it, Matt. When he is on, he is just about unhittable. He has got one of the better sliders in independent, maybe even just flat out in pro ball. Pete Gavilia has said it several times over. His slider would play in the majors. That one ripped down the line though, and just foul. Not tonight, Mr. Washington. David Washington had himself an evening in Game 1, 2 home runs. I didn't realize, I've seen it on the video broadcast. I didn't know if it was just like an effect or they actually do flicker the lights when they hit a home run. So that happened a few too many times for my liking last night as Washington parked a few and Ramiro had a home run, but nothing tonight for the Ducks. 5 hits.
It's a New York thing. The Yankees do
They do it? Okay.
during home games, so I guess the Ducks follow suit in the Atlantic League. But your eyes did not deceive you, my friend.
No, I was always wondering. I'm like, is that just a video effect? But no, it is certainly in effect here. And Washington down 1-2 here with Matt West looking to close the door on this Game 2 win. The 1-2 pitch to Washington, fastball up. It looks like West kind of slipped there out on the mound, so count even at 2-2.
And I always wonder where that comes from, Ryan, because if you look to our right, you can see right above me is the control of all the stadium lights here at Bethpage Ballpark. So we could actually
So we have the power to turn
lights up. Absolutely. We could literally turn the lights out in this ball game.
The way the Skeeters have played tonight, want to keep the lights on all night. 2-2 the count to Washington, and pops it up foul down the third base side.
Well, just quickly, I want to again say to you and the entire Sugarland Skeeters organization, their front office, their fans, to just a quick thank you very much for the opportunity here to join you in these 2 games. I live in East Islip, which is just a stone's throw away from here in Central Islip, so I appreciate the opportunity, Ryan. It's been a lot of fun.
Pleasure is all ours. Love to have an Atlantic League veteran here in the booth with me. And the 2-2 pitch, Sky at left field. I don't think it's going to be playable for Bernard, and it is not. It is deep into the Long Island Night foul. So, Mike, no extra base hits tonight either for the Ducks. They have 5 hits, 5 singles, and that's another thing to tip you, another little feather in your cap if you're Skeeters pitchers.
Absolutely, and especially after what we saw last night with the power display that they put on with the 3 home runs.
I was also told by some of our players, and Peter Gavilli included, 2-2 pitch. That one is hit to left field. Coming on in is Bernard, and Bernard has it. So David Washington, after his 2-homer game last night, is going to end with an 0-for-4 line here tonight. Nice job by Skeeters pitchers, but I heard that the banging of the trash can lids and the drum by Quackerjack, as he conveniently is located atop the opposing dugout. I don't think that's a coincidence.
No, it's not.
So I heard that, and hey, it has whatever he's been doing. It hasn't worked tonight, and Skeeters are just 2 outs away now from putting a bow on this Game 2 win. It'll be Ramon Cabrera, and you're going to have a day off after you've only had to use all of your relievers for just 1 inning. They've only had to go to 4 relievers so far in the first 2 games. First pitch to Cabrera, that one misses just a bit outside, 1-0.
Maybe we can blame Quackerjack here, because last night the rally was started by him on the third base dugout with the trash can lids. Tonight it's the actual drum.
This win would be the largest margin, or the second largest margin of victory in the championship series for the Skeeters. As that one, Sky to center field. Coming on in is Rico Noel, and Rico Noel makes the play for out number 2, so now just 1 out away. But it was that 10-0 game, and this exact game last year was the largest margin of victory. So something about these Game 2s in the Atlantic League Championship Series, the Skeeters are ready to go. And now it'll be Vladimir Frias with the Skeeters just 1 out away from evening this Atlantic League Championship Series up at 1-1.
That was Game 2 last year at Constellation Field.
Yes, it was a 10-0 win. Connor Wade threw a complete game shutout.
So basically, when the Skeeters are in the championship series, Game 2 is just a shutout victory.
Just lock it in. Just lock it in, I guess.
I hope I didn't jinx that. If I did, I'm sorry, Skeeters fans. If Frias hits a home run.
No, I'll take the blame for that one myself. 2 away here with Frias, and that one drops in. Nice pitch by Matt West. Good slider there, but goes missing a little bit inside. 1-0. So a 6:35 p.m. start Central Time for Game 3 back at Constellation Field on Friday. The 1-0 to Frias misses low and away. Count moves to 2-0.
I'm a little jealous that I won't be there, because I'm telling you, I know for a fact that that place is going to be electric.
It is going to be a good atmosphere. Get the 3 weekend games and hoping to pop some champagne and celebrate on our home field for the first time with a championship win. That one is skied. Foul, so count moves to 2-1 into Frias. This is a tough place to come in and wrap up a championship. They did it in just 1 game back in 2016. They swept the Ducks. Last year they were up 2-0, and it took all the way to the Game 5. And last year, James Russell, man, you want to talk about a Madison Bumgarner-like postseason. James Russell pitched 4 games in the postseason last year, and the Skeeters won all 4 of them. And they've gotten somewhat of that production from Carlos Pimentel. The 2-1 from West fouled right back, so 2-2 the count. Skeeters 1 strike away from wrapping up this one. They lead 7-0 in the bottom of the 9th. 2-2 the count, 2 away. Looking like they're about to send the Long Island faithful back home with a tough loss in their last home game here this season. The 2-2 pitch, that one popped up. This should do it. Martinson back, shot on left field. Martinson underrated, he has it. For out number 3, Skeeters win game number 2 of the Atlantic League Championship Series. 7-0. Series all tied up at 1-1. We will head back to Constellation Field with a chance to win the Atlantic League Championship Series. This series is tied up 1-1. Skeeters take Game 2 by a resounding 7-0 defeat. It started with a 3-run first inning, and Carlos Pimentel, that was more than enough for him tonight. A masterful effort from the former Long Island right-hander. Skeeters win this one 7-0. We'll be back here in just a moment to wrap it up. The Atlantic League Championship Series will run through Constellation Field. This series is knotted up 1-1. Skeeters win 7-0. Back here in just a moment. Welcome back one last time here at Bethpage Ballpark this season as the Skeeters have evened this series up 1-1, a 7-0 win over the Long Island Ducks here at Bethpage Ballpark. We are headed back to Constellation Field with the series all knotted up. What a win it was, Mike. 7-0. That is the second largest margin of victory for the Skeeters in a championship series game. It started in the first inning, 3 runs scored. Albert Cordero with a 2-run home run to help pad that lead. Then you go to the second inning, the Skeeters scored 2 more runs on a throwing error from Steven Lombardozzi. And then in the third inning, Zach Borenstein with an RBI single. Then you move all the way to the sixth inning. It was an RBI single from Javier Betancourt, 7 runs. But really the story of the night was right-hander Carlos Pimentel. 7 scoreless innings. He picks up the win. He's now 2-0 in the postseason. 7 innings, 5 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. That is about as good of an outing you can get here in the postseason, Mike.
Yeah, you know, the Sugarland Skeeters kind of gave the Long Island Ducks a dose of their own medicine tonight. They took the early lead, 2 batters in on the double by Winton Bernard scoring Grico Noel. Last night, with the Ducks leading early, Davidson Romero hits a 3-run home run with 2 men down, and then David Washington follows with a solo home run in the first inning. Tonight, Albert Cordero doing the honors with 2 men down, a 2-run home run, and that made it a 3-0 lead for Sugarland in the first inning. And, you know, it's just a couple of big tack-on runs early that helped the psyche of Carlos Pimentel, and then, like you were saying early, he was dominant, and 3 runs seemed like enough, and it was, and then a couple more in the second and 1 more in the third, and really that was the ball game. 6-0, and it was just all Pimentel and the Skeeters tonight. Just a tremendous performance offensively, and like you said, the storyline really, the success of Carlos Pimentel. We touched upon it at the top of the broadcast, facing his old team in the Long Island Ducks on his old pitcher's mound here at Bethpage Ballpark, and boy, just one of the most impressive performances in Skeeters postseason history.
And that's going to do it for us here tonight. Great to have Mike Moore on board here for these 2 games. The Skeeters have evened the series up at 1-1. Another Atlantic League Championship series between these 2 clubs, and it is all knotted up. I cannot tell you how excited I am to get back to Sugarland and hopefully watch the Skeeters win their 2nd straight title. That'll do it for us here tonight. Thank you so much for all that have listened to the broadcast on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. We'll be back 6:35 p.m. on Friday for game number 3. Until then, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday evening. Skeeters win. Skeeters win.